This is Jets Chaos with Jeremy, and it is Friday night and a Friday night hangout. And we are going to get started right after this. Oh yeah, go. Amazing, that's my boy. He
breaks away from a sack and completes the pass for first down.
Oh, Kittle just may have made the most amazing catch.
He fights for the first down and gets out of bounds too.
It's no good. Overtime. Oh, what a catch. How do you drop that? What are you, Jamal Adams? Touchdown.
This is a touchdown all the way.
He reached over the pylon. San Francisco beat Cincinnati. Yeah, and then Cincinnati made it to the Super Bowl, and San Francisco didn't. But we should have known San Francisco was Cincinnati was struggling to beat NFC teams. So there's that. What's up, Just Mets? Just Mess. I said Mets. What's going on, Brian Sill? What's going on, Wa2K99? Nice of you to be in the chat. And Straight 100 Jets, what's going on? He made a great video. Everybody should go check it out today. He is just livid and fed up with the media, disappointed and sad about it. And I don't blame him. Pathetic, this media. But anyway, now that's, the Wicker Man. I know you want him. We'll get to him. We're not going to, without further ado. How about that? Don't you love it when someone says that and then there's tons of further ado? But seriously, without further ado. You're already asking for him. He legitimizes me. He makes me legitimate. I was able to get out even though they tried to pull me back in to ridiculousness. That's right, Jinkle, you tried to pull me in, and just when you did, sanity got hold of me and pulled me up and lifted me. And that sanity has a name. It's Wa2K99. What's up?
Cheers to the Jets fans.
Cheers to the Jets fans. It is good to be a Jet fan.
It is good to be a Jets fan, and it is good to be with you, and it is good to be with the chat tonight on a Friday night. We think it's wacky on Wednesday, but on Friday, you never know what's going to happen or how late it's going to go.
Friday gets freaky.
Freaky Friday.
So, before we even lose that momentum, he's going to be a father!
You are the father!
What is up, everybody?
Seems to me we just did this not that long ago.
Honestly, right?
Yeah, this is like the sequel.
Yeah, part 2.
There you go.
Revenge of the Wednesdays.
Yeah, rarely does the sequel live up to the original, but we're going to give it our best shot tonight.
Hey, man, 48 hours later, and it makes all the difference in the world when you go from Wednesday night to Friday night.
That is true, even if there's little, if any, stories in the news, so we might just have to make our own up, but that never stopped us.
There's always stuff to talk about. We've got a 90-man roster at this point. Got 90 different things to talk about.
It's true. It means we have 37 guys to cut.
Oh, yeah.
Snowball, what's going on? Oi. Our friend, Jets Fans United. Clutch is in the chat.
Oh, pretty clutch.
Clutch is right here, ready to go, ready to talk. There's no Kansas City news either, so he's just as bored as we are.
No, just how do they feel about Leo Chanel? That's all we really want to know as far as Kansas City goes.
Actually, now I'm really curious about the Clemson wide receiver that they brought on.
Justin Ross.
Yeah. I don't even care about Chanel. Once they moved him to I never thought he was a good fit for the Jets anyway, but once they drafted him and then like the news report basically came out, oh no, they're playing him as an edge. Now I care again. But Ross, what a story, man. They might have found a guy who he can play, man.
If he's healthy, if his spine's okay. The spine is always a very scary proposition. But
it's one of those things where they got him for free. They didn't have to spend a draft pick.
That's right.
It's just going to cost them money, and like as funny as that sounds, I'd rather, like, you always look at it with like these players. It's like, I'd rather it just cost money than draft capital and money.
All right. Yes, Chinese chicken salad sounds wonderful.
I think that means she's thinking of ordering Chinese. I guess actually I don't know because there's a place she likes that has that too. So it might be
I
Urban
don't know.
Jack's Urban Eats or something. We'll figure it
I'm
out.
thinking Chinese chicken salad. I think we're talking about like you're going to like CPK or a local bistro or something. I don't think PF Chang's is making it, for instance.
Oh, the out here, the Chinese restaurants, like in the Bay Area, have great Chinese chicken salad. Like it's amazing.
Okay.
It's delicious. But also it's become a popular just dish. So we have a place called Jack's Urban Eats. They do it. It just means it's like chopped up, the lettuce, some carrot. There's different variations, but it's always like a really cool dressing, like a ginger soy or orange ginger kind of dressing. Sometimes they chop up some of those noodles, and crush them up and mix them in.
Like the wontons?
No,
The rice noodles? The rice noodles are really thin white
you
ones?
dip in duck sauce in a restaurant. I'm forgetting the name of them.
They dip in duck sauce.
You never went to a restaurant in the tri-state area and they give you like these crunchy noodles.
I think I feel like these
Oh,
are like
yeah,
little wonton
I know what you're
ones.
talking about. Oh.
Yeah, those are wontons. They're the wontons.
Yeah, the wontons. Okay,
Yeah.
yes, so that was what we were talking about. Okay,
Yeah, I guess I never called them that, but that's what they are. It's the same, except it's fried, so it's crispy.
and you need the crunch, no doubt about it.
Yeah. So Boogie Down Bronx. I feel like if I was hanging out with Boogie Down Bronx, nobody would mess with me. It's like, yeah, you want to mess with me? Talk to my friend here. Boogie Down Bronx and mess him up.
If I'm heading down to Raleigh, I may need Boogie Down Bronx this weekend, to be honest.
What's up, Rob D in the house? What's going on? Oh, wonton noodles. That's what they call.
There you go.
There we go.
Oh my god. Yeah, I made him laugh. Wohop has great noodles.
Wohop? Wohop.
I don't know. I never remember the name of a lot of places.
There's a lot of very interesting names for Chinese restaurants. Usually, like when Jay Leno was hosting the Tonight Show, they'd have some. They'd be doing headlines. There'd be some good ones. Like one was the Mai Dung Chinese restaurant. I still remember that one vividly. They weren't getting good business. I don't know why. I mean, they have a big sign that lights up. It says Mai Dung. Why weren't people going in there?
I don't know, man. I just know that, when you grow up in the city in New York, unless you go to one of the fancier ones with the round tables, Chinese restaurants were like these little hole-in-the-wall, bulletproof places. Very few people. Like sometimes if you lived in a place long enough, you said, oh, the one on L and 91st is the best one in Canarsie, that kind of thing. But this place has the best ribs, but it really didn't matter. When we got Chinese food, we went into any of the little hole-in-the-wall places. We got our egg
all
rolls,
the same.
We got our
right.
We got our chicken with broccoli. It didn't matter. Like you got your stuff, and it was like in Brooklyn, at least where I lived, it was reliable because if it wasn't good, they wouldn't be in business because people don't stand for that in Brooklyn with their food. Don't mess with their food. If you're not good, you're not staying in business.
This is true.
Yeah, I mean. Oh, I like this one. Look at this one. Every bond you break, every step you take, Michael Clemens will be watching you.
It's a good one.
Oh, can't you see? All right.
Okay. My wife knows more about Wohop than I do. Look at that. Noodletown is one of the top places outside of Wohop. Okay.
This is feeling really local right about now.
We're talking.
Yeah, I'm so lost.
Completely.
I don't know, man.
I live in Southeast Virginia. We're not exactly known for our Chinese food. I mean, we pretty much got seafood boils and ham biscuits. That's about all
I'm
we
in
got.
Florida. What do I got?
People coming down from New York and bringing their food there. That's what you got. You're okay.
It's not good. Not
all right.
the people who make good food are staying in New York because they've got successful businesses.
I will say this. We got a couple pizza places. I got to drive, but they actually have one of those New York water filtration systems. And it's actually like on the wall where they filter out the water and put the minerals in to try to replicate the New York water, because we all know with the pizza and the bagels, it's all about the water, right? So it's actually like a licensed, this place called Brooklyn Pizza. I know the name would give me second thoughts too, but it actually is very, very good. And they actually featured their water thing right on the wall. Peter Chang's, that's about as generic. There's PF Chang's right across the street from my house in a little shopping center, and I could walk there if I wanted to. I remember when I got the COVID vaccine and I was completely out of it for about a day and a half. It was like the one time I actually spent the money on DoorDash. I'm like, I need give me some Chinese food. It was like I was just going to go through a whole bag of stuff that night. So that's like my biggest. I've only ordered PF Chang's twice in the 4 years I've lived here, but COVID night was one of them. So,
well, they used when they first started. I had one. I ate there in the suburbs of Atlanta, and it was wonderful. And then they went to crap. They became corporate.
Not quite the same.
It became garbage. In the beginning, though, man, it was like the Outback Steakhouse. In the beginning, it was something very special.
That's exactly what I was thinking when you started describing it. I'm like, it sounds like he's talking about Outback.
Yeah,
exactly. It has really deteriorated, and that is sad.
Yeah. So Boogie Down has a question for us. Hey guys, who do you think our starting cornerbacks for the beginning of the season are? I think that it's going to be. I think this is an easy one. As far as
specific, go CB1, CB2, slot corner.
Okay,
go in that order.
CB1. See, I mean, I don't care about who's CB1, he's CB2, but if I have to say it, okay, I'll say it. I think Sauce Gardner will establish himself as the CB1 by the time the season starts. No question in my mind. CB2 will be Reed. The slot corner will be Michael Carter II. But by third down of the first drive that we're on defense, like within 3 to 4 plays, Hall would have been on the field already in some capacity. Whether it's because we're playing a 4-2-5, he's going to be in the game a lot. So it's not going to matter that much that he's not the official starter or what you call him. He's going to be a part of this defense, and he's going to be on the field contributing often. But anyway, that's my take.
No disagreement on my end.
I do disagree.
Yep. Go ahead. Well,
I actually flip your CB1, CB2. I think DJ is CB1.
It'll be left side, right side.
I think so too, but I think the real definition of CB1, CB2 in our system is who does the safety hover. And I think the safety is going to hover Sauce Gardner a lot of the beginning of the year. And that's just because I just don't want to throw Sauce to the Wolves immediately.
Right.
The beginning of the season is brutal, and I would not mind seeing LaMarcus Joyner hovering Sauce, especially because teams, I think, are going to try to test him, especially with how we play left side, right side. If you put Sauce on the left, I think you're just going to naturally see the corner kind of play over there by the left side to just give him some help, because I think we're going to see a lot of one-on-one matchups with Sauce early on with really, really high-level wide receivers. So I have it flipped just because DJ Reed just came off of a year of being a top 10 corner in the league, and I don't see how you don't put him on an island and say, go, like, we paid you a bunch of money, go do this thing.
Well, if they test Gardner, I can't wait, because that means we're going to get a lot. We're going to get some interceptions.
Yeah, I guess, that first week, I'm not too worried about any of the receivers on the Ravens. Bateman's good, but they don't really have a game breaker that we're really afraid of. I would think against Cleveland, their top receiver, you have Cooper. Then after that, you have Chase, and then I'm guessing probably Deontay Johnson. So, yeah, he'll be in the thick of things pretty early on, because it seems like there aren't too many teams anymore who don't have a wide receiver that you would consider a big time threat. So when you don't see one of those, it's the exception more than the rule.
Week 3 for me is the week where I go, I want to see Sauce, what he is, what he's made of, because I have no fear of the Ravens wide receiving core at all. I have no I think. And I stand by this. I was not a proponent of going out and getting Amari Cooper, because I always felt like he was a fake 1,000-yard receiver. A lot of his receiving yards came late in the game when the games were either way out of hand, or he just wasn't your clutch, go get your your 100 receiving yards a game in a meaningful way. So week 3 for me is where I look at it and I go, this is a big week. And then week 4 against the Steelers is another one, because it's not just Johnson out there. You also have to take into consideration that they've got Claypool, they got George Pickens, who a lot of people considered a first round pick. Like, they've got a lot of receiving weapons, and that's the first time I think our defensive back room is going to be week 4, is where they're really going to be tested when it comes to like straight up depth. Because I guess you could say Cincinnati as well, right? Because I'm just thinking Chase is like the guy, but they got T. Higgins, they got
Boyd.
they got depths. Boyd.
Yeah.
You know, one thing you could do is kind of do what New England did with Revis, where you put him on the second wide receiver, and then if you have to use like Reed and a free safety to try to blanket the number 1 cornerback, you could try to do that too. There's a lot of different things that we could do. I think they're going to keep changing up their strategies. They'll kind of figure it out as they go along, depending on the matchup.
And we keep our guys on one side or the other. We don't assign them to, receive. The offense decides who they want to match up, because once we decide who's playing the X and who's playing the Y, we saw last year with Diggs. It's like they kept Eccles on Diggs. They like, nope, we don't move our guy. That's
what we had been doing. But now that we have Sauce, I think there's a little bit of
more into that. I don't think so. I think we lean more into that. Adding Sauce adds so much more talent. I was worried last year because like the gap between Hall and Eccles was pretty big, right? While Eccles is good, Hall is a much better corner. And I want Hall on Diggs. Now, I don't care if it's Sauce or DJ Reed on Diggs, because whoever the other guy is going to be at a mismatch. Like, if you put Sauce on Diggs, great. What's the other guy that came really big for the playoffs?
Gabriel Davis.
Davis is going to be covered by DJ Reed. That's still not fair for Dave. Like, no matter what, Davis gets screwed because he has to go one-on-one with Sauce or DJ Reed. And that's not a good matchup for anybody.
Anybody concerned about Jamison Crowder just not having a lot of catches against us, but he'll have a couple of clutch third down catches?
Oh, he's going to get a touchdown.
Rub it in our face.
He's going to get a touchdown.
He'll do something. But
yes, we do boogie down Bronx.
I don't think there's bad blood there. I think he liked us and we liked him. So, but still, yeah. I mean,
until we asked him to take that pay cut.
Yeah. Tigo, we have Latin food. Yeah, Florida. I agree with that. I agree with that. I'm going to say something very silly that's going to make you laugh at me. But my experience was that as I used to travel to Florida a lot for business, 90% Orlando, and when we would. And all the conventions were in Disney World, and then I would stay in one of those hotels and eat at in Disney World at Gloria Estefan's restaurant. But I will say it may have been kind of touristy and everything, but it was delicious.
If you literally you can go anywhere in Orlando, like Central Florida, and if you find anything that says like lechonera or anything on it, you go in there, you'll have the best Latin food you've ever had in your life for like $4, and that'll come with a drink and a side and a little thing of cake, and you'll want to kill yourself afterwards because you've just engorged yourself with so much food.
I'm assuming it's like Tres Leches cake.
I don't know. I never eat the cake. I'm not a sweets guy. My wife does.
Okay, got it. Oh, that's why she keeps you around. You can have that. She can have that second piece of cake. I see how it goes.
Straight up or straight 100 Jets. I see straight. I always say straight up. And maybe Zach Wilson raving about Garrett Wilson. Yeah, he was talking about him. He was saying he's like a sponge. He learns really fast. But he was also saying at the same time, be patient with him, because he said when he learns how to line up. But also at the same side says, but you can see the talent. The talent is amazing, and it's the talent's there. But that's the big question, though, right? When you're young and you get into the league, it's like, yeah, we know he has talent. I guess the question is he going to learn to line up? Is he going to learn our system really well? Is he going to continue to develop his route running ability, right? I mean, aren't these the things that determine how good a wide receiver becomes? I mean, he certainly has all the speed and all the talent to be a superstar. I mean, what's left other than will he grow and learn and be able to, get those other deeper skills that you need in the NFL? What do you think?
I don't see that for Garrett Wilson personally. I love Garrett Wilson as a pick. I think that he was the right pick. He's the pick that I would have made at number 10, and all of that. But my thing that I always come back to is, and Green Bean was kind of on this for a little bit, but I took the opposite stance of what Green Bean took, which is this wide receiving core wasn't and isn't as good as last year's or has been in previous years. And while Garrett Wilson was very clearly a wide receiver 1 in this class, I look at last year's class and go, where does he get taken if it was last year's class? Now, I took that to say, if that's the scenario, why am I going to trust that a wide receiver in round 2 or 3 is going to be anywhere nearly productive or whatever? But I looked at those guys and I said, as much as I love this duo of Garrett Wilson and Elijah Moore in our system, and I agree with that part of the statement, that duo is going to be a top 5 duo in this league, I'm not going to put any expectations on Garrett Wilson until I see him on the field. Because ultimately, we saw him at an Ohio State that threw the ball a lot, that was surrounded with first-round picks, and there was a lot of space for him to work in. So I want to wait till he's on the field before I start saying that he's going to be anything crazy special. Like the same way Y2K feels about Breece Hall of like, hey, show me why you're the first running back. That's how I feel about Garrett Wilson. I want him to come out and have a Justin Jefferson rookie year or a Jamar Chase rookie year. Of course I do. That's not what I'm saying, like that I don't want him to do. It's just that to say that I think he's a future top 5 receiver in the league, I knew Jamar Chase was going to come in and blow the league up. Like, I knew that in my bones. There was nothing. It was one of those things where you're like, when a guy's going to hit? That's how I felt about Jamar Chase. I don't feel that way about Garrett Wilson, but I do think that our scheme, our system is going to help him a lot, and I think that he can be a really, really good wide receiver. But that's just me. I love the duo, and I'm really excited for our wide receiver room, but until I see him on the field in pads at full speed, I don't want to put any expectations on him because I just don't know.
For me, I still think of Davis and Moore as our 1 and 2. I think Wilson can grow his way into it, and maybe by the end of the season, maybe he is the most targeted wide receiver. But remember, we were all freaking out after like week 3 or 4 last year when the wide receiver who had the most targets on our team was Braxton Berrios. We thought, like, what are we doing with this offense? And by the end of the season, it's like, oh my God, we got to extend this guy. So things can change over the course of a season. And to me, when we don't have as much depth at wide receiver as we did previously, but it's more top heavy than it used to be. I'll put it that way. So for me, I still think Moore and Davis are where I want to see us start. Wilson to me is probably the best all-around receiver that was in this draft class. I don't think he would have been the top by any stretch. He wasn't even the top receiver drafted this year, although I still wanted him over Drake London without question. So, you know what, for me, I'm glad that that's the receiver that they took. Although I still wonder to this day, if Jameson Williams had not gotten hurt, would they have taken him? And would Jameson Williams had even dropped to the Jets? We could have that debate. We could speculate on that. We'll never know. So let's see how it goes. I just hope that they make him earn his way onto the field. If he's not starting the first preseason game, to me, I say that's fine. Let's see what he can do when Mike White or Joe Flacco were throwing him the ball in the first couple of preseason games. And, let's make sure that he can, dominate, a backup secondary before he is going out and facing, the Baltimore defense or the Pittsburgh defense, since, some teams that have some pretty good, we start with some good defenses. And some of these kids are going to get put to the test very quickly. So we'll see who stands out.
There's a lot of competition there, and I agree with you. I don't think he is wide receiver 1 right now. I think he will inevitably be, right? I think by the end of the year, we're really going to see when we put out 2 wide receivers out there, we're going to be putting out Garrett Wilson and Elijah Moore. But right now, for me, in my eyes, the way that it works out is Garrett Wilson is wide receiver 4, and he's got to earn his spot to number 1. You got to beat out Braxton. You have to beat out Corey Davis, and then you got to beat out Elijah Moore. I love Elijah Moore. He's my outside of the quarterback, because I think everybody loves the quarterback. Outside of the quarterback, Elijah Moore is my favorite player on the Jets. If they had an Elijah Moore is good shirt, I would have ordered that too. He should make that shirt. I'm going to message him about it. But that being said, it's one of those things where I think what you said is perfect. I can't wait to see that second half where Mike White and Joe Flacco are throwing the ball in that first preseason game, because that's when we get to see Garrett Wilson light it up and see what he is as he starts earning his wide receiver 1 position. That's a great comment.
Jeremy, any thoughts?
I love Elijah Moore. And I don't want Garrett Wilson to be someone we rely on week 1. I think it's good if hopefully Corey Davis and Elijah Moore stay healthy. Berrios is a smart, hardworking player. And that's why he earned every reception he got, and the contract he got and the popularity he got was because he's a balls out guy. He's a baller. He gives everything he has, every bit of whatever, oomph that he has to this team and to succeeding. And if those 3 guys can hold the fort and do well with our 2 tight ends and then with Breece Hall and all these weapons, let's develop Garrett Wilson the right way. But there's some point during the season, this kid's going to break loose. Like, I'm not saying dominate games. I'm saying in a play. Like, you're going to see a play where he makes some kind of cut and comes across that field and just breaks him wide open. And you're going to see you're going to see the potential. This kid is super fast, and he's, he has some excellent footage of just being really good at getting, at suckering the defender, like making a cut and, stopping them. And then he explodes and accelerates really fast and is able to pull away and create a lot of space. So I think we're going to see some of that. But I agree, he's not a Chase. He's not a guy who's just going to own the league, most likely. He's a guy that's going to have to develop. And I don't care about WR1, WR2, like this and that. I care about just having the best wide receiver room, like a great wide receiver room with lots of talented wide receivers that do their job. And when that ball snaps, he just plays the play. And he can trust his wide receivers, whoever it is. He's just going to be able to trust them, go through the progressions, know where they're going to go based on how those guys are being defended, that they're going to follow the system. And that's what we care about most. I'm not going to make any predictions for Garrett Wilson. I do think he's talented enough and is going to be a good fit in our system and be one of the guys in our wide receiver room for the next, 5 or 5+ years.
One of the biggest signs of improvement I think we could see from Zach Wilson, I don't think people are talking enough about this. I felt there were too many times last season, particularly early on, when he was locked in on one receiver. Most often it would be Corey Davis. With all the different players that he has at his disposal now, these wide receivers, these running backs, these tight ends, is he going to be able to, lock guys with the safety and draw the safety and then go another direction with it like we see the best quarterbacks do? That is one of the biggest things that I want to see from Zach Wilson this year, to not get trapped in on one receiver, but take what the defense gives you and then take the yards and keep the ball moving down the field. That is one of the biggest things I need.
I agree, but I also think that at the beginning of the year, we all knew the ball was going to go to Corey Davis because, who else was it going to go to? I don't think as an offensive coordinator, I don't think Mike LaFleur or even Zach Wilson, because we have to remember, right? Elijah Moore was hurt at the beginning of the year. So you got to look at it and you go, we didn't believe in Braxton that much because we thought that he was wide receiver 4 punt returner. That's what we thought he was. We were all wrong. And we thought we learned as the year went on that connection that they built with one another, Zach Wilson and Braxton, and what Braxton can actually be. But Mims was going through what Mims was going through. So he wasn't really an option. Keelan Cole, we had a lot of expectations for him and he just disappointed there. The only real option that he had was Corey Davis. We didn't have tight ends that we trusted that we could throw the ball to. So the play calling became really unoriginal at the beginning of the year because it was either hand the ball off to Tevin Coleman or Michael Carter, or try to force the ball to Corey Davis. And those were the two play calls that we really had at the beginning of the year. And so when we see later in the year, when he starts developing chemistry, and by he, I mean, Zach Wilson, when he starts developing chemistry with these wide receivers, you start seeing him reading off safeties, going through his progressions and all of that stuff. And that's the thing I don't think people talk enough about with the Jets is that of all of the rookie quarterbacks, Zach Wilson was the only rookie quarterback that was asked to actually make high-level NFL caliber reads in an offense and go through progressions. Everybody else was one read and like dump it off to the guy, or one read and run with it. And so I think we're going to see a big step. And going back to the original thing, I think we're not going to see Garrett Wilson be that big of a contributor early on because we have so many mouths to feed on the offensive side of the ball, honestly.
And I love that. Like,
Yeah.
I want to be a team that doesn't rely on one player. I want to be a team that, isn't, if one person is injured or out of your offense, it changes the whole game and changes your whole team. I don't want that, with the exception of quarterback, where there's no choice for any team, pretty much. If you have if Zach Wilson develops and takes that giant step, I mean, you just are not going to have a backup quarterback that's close. But in every other position, that's what you want. Like, you want it to be, we have two really good running backs and a decent third running back. So if one of the, three go down, you still have the other two. And, the wide receivers, you have just a room full of good players. So if one goes down, it doesn't devastate you. I feel like we definitely got that in the tight end room. I'd love for them to all stay healthy, but I feel like if one goes down, we still got two others that can play the game. So I like that. I love that. So I love that Garrett. I don't want Garrett Wilson to be that guy, or Elijah Moore to be that guy, or Corey Davis to be that guy that we can't live without. I want Denzel Mims to step up and impress us and really have a great comeback year and just make us a really solid room, just filled with talent.
To piggyback off of that too, though, the thing that you mentioned about like the quarterback, I do think Zach Wilson is going to take a big step this year, but I also like the system that we run really, really well with Mike LaFleur, because like the great thing that's going to ultimately end up happening, and I'm going to knock on all the wood, right, that Zach stays healthy and plays all 17 games. But like the good thing is if our wide receivers and our tight ends and our running backs and everything like that, they all take a big step and they all make that move and they all do that progression and they do all of that stuff. What ultimately ends up happening is look at what Jimmy G was able to do with San Francisco. Jimmy G is not a good quarterback. Let's stop kidding ourselves, right? Like he is a slightly worse Kirk Cousins, and Kirk Cousins is an average quarterback. But when you run our system, it's so quarterback friendly. Are you really telling me that, like, if God forbid Zach Wilson goes down, you really don't think Mike White can go out there and be successful in our offense? Like, that's the thing that I'm excited about it, is that it's not, we've really put ourselves in a position where we're not relying 100% on Zach Wilson to go win games. There are other teams out there that like we're relying on their quarterbacks to win them games. Great example of this is Green Bay this year. Green Bay has nothing that anybody is scared of outside of two players on offense. And that's Aaron Rodgers and that's Aaron Jones. That's it.
Yep.
You're scared about the running back and the wide receiver. That's it. So it's good to know that like we are so deep. There are for the first time in a long time, I wish we could play all three of our wide receivers, 1, 2, and 3, really even all the way down to 4, because I'd love to have Braxton on the field as well. All 3 of our tight ends on the field and both of our running backs on the field all at the same time. Could you like forget offensive linemen? We're just going to run skill positions, and we're just because they're all that good. And it's just like, that's what like I love about this team, is that for the first time in a long time is we have a lot of really good players.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we do. And that's the difference, because like somebody just said in the chat, PCR, we, everyone's guaranteed to get injured in football. I mean, pretty much. I mean, guys go down. It just happens. They're going to get hurt. And that's why it's not so simple to just make excuses when you have injuries and your team stinks to say, well, we had a lot of injuries. No, that going in when you're building your football team up. That's why we had no chance last year in reality, even before the injuries happened, because there was no depth. So if you thought did we really believe we were going to go in the season and on paper stay the same team that we thought we could be? Of course not, because guys are going to go down. And what you really need to look at is who are the guys that are going to come in and guarantee that for a lot of games during the year, that's going to be your team. So until the entire team gets as deep as some of these rooms, the tight end, the running back room, the tight end room, the wide receiver room, the defensive line right now is looking like it's going to be very deep. Until you get that deep in every area, assume that you have a big weakness on your team. Like right now, I'm very concerned about the offensive line. There's no question about it. I mean, if one of the tackles go down or one of the guards go down, who comes in? Now, I really like Max Mitchell, but I'll feel better once it's proven a little bit, right? I mean, right now we believe in Max Mitchell, but it's still going to be a guy that we don't know, has never been NFL tested, there was some rumors going around today. I read an article from Boy Green. I would love to sign a guy like Fisher if he's willing to take that step in his career to be a backup, or someone. Just get some very reliable backup offensive lineman for sure.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. It's not a bad idea. We'll get to I want to get to this question in a moment about defense, but depth is a never ending search in this league, because between the salary cap, the contracts, once a guy feels like he's better than depth, he's going to bolt for a starting opportunity. So let's just face this. You want to be as deep as you can, but you will never be perfectly deep. It's like chasing after the wind. You can only get so deep. But
I might have to make a Max Mitchell is good shirt, because I love that kid and I have no worries about our offensive line. Like after watching the Herbig tape, and I love Max Mitchell. Like that might have to be my first.
Yes, forgot about him.
I might have to make that my first piece of merch. Is just Max Mitchell is good.
For right now, I'll take Max Mitchell as acceptable. How about that?
I'm on board.
That's good enough for this year for me. Actually, we got the sauce. I'm going to give you a linebacker who I think could be cut, that I would like to see the Jets get if he does shake free, and it's Zach Cunningham. Spent most of his career in Houston. Went with Tennessee for a couple games last year. He's got a $10 million cap hit, and I don't know if Tennessee's going to want to keep that on for an off-ball linebacker, but he's 27 years old, and in 2020, he had 106 solo tackles. Numbers went down a little last year, but 29 tackles for a loss in 5 years, 12 quarterback hits. Doesn't get a whole lot of sacks, but he could tackle, and he could have been pretty healthy. I mean, last year he only played 14 games, and that's the least number of games he's played in any of his 5 seasons. So it's hard to know who's going to get cut, but one guy I would watch for is Zach Cunningham. I think he'd fit well.
Oh, interesting. What about are we still in the market for Quan Alexander, you think?
Nah. I think if we were going to sign him, he would have been signed already. I don't think we're first. I have to ask this question. We got this sauce. Is this Jets forever? I think it is, but we'll see if he can answer that question. But secondly, I don't think we're in the market for a linebacker. I just don't think it. I think that there are other positions that I think the Jets will be and are more interested in signing and going after. And I don't think linebacker, unfortunately, is one of those guys. That being said, for me, it always comes back to is if he's willing to redo his deal after a trade, is always going to come back to Deion Jones in Atlanta. He's an insane cap hit. They're willing to part ways with him for like a 7th round pick because they just want him off the books, kind of a thing. And so for me, it's all about, is he willing to restructure his deal? But ultimately, I like the linebackers that we have right now. I'd love to test them out and see what they are going to be and what they're going to become. And so, like I said, I'd rather run it back with them and that's it.
Just on a quick side note, if I could throw this in, I have a Colorado St. Louis on the TV. It was 2-2. Colorado scored with 5 seconds left in the third period, so they're going to win the series. They are ridiculous. Okay.
That's crazy.
Let me see. Say we kept 6 receivers: Davis, Moore, Wilson, Berrios, Mims, and Jeff Smith. That's cool with me. You know what? I don't think our wide receiver depth is as good as because it's so top heavy. I don't think we're thinking about the depth enough at times. If one of our top, say, 3 or 4 guys go down, we really will need Mims to step up, because after that, we're talking like the Charles, the DJ Montgomerys of the world. Hopefully, Charles can make an impact, but how much more of Jeff Smith do we? I feel like Jeff Smith has been on the team now longer than like Bilal Powell was. We just can't get rid of Jeff Smith.
Yeah, he's old. Like
he's always the last guy to make the team.
But like the other thing that I think we got to take into consideration when it comes to that is just how realistic is it that many wide receivers go down, right? Like we have to talk about a massive run of injuries on the wide receiver for us to really see Jeff Smith, Irv Charles, Kashawn Abram, Tariq Black, Calvin. Like we really got to see a big run of injuries for that to go down. And the thing that even myself looking at that and I go, I'm cool with running those 6 wide receivers, is I would rather run one of the undrafted free agents over Steve Smith, just because like, dude, Steve Smith has been on this team for longer than I've been alive. Let's see what we got out of some of these other guys. But like, if let's say we get 3 injuries on the wide receiver room, you just run 2 wide receiver sets and you just run CJ Uzomah, Tyler Conklin, and screw it. You just flex Jeremy Ruckert into the slot. Like you just run one of the tight ends as a wide receiver out there. So like for me, that's how I look at it, where I go like, I'm not that worried about it, because like we have other weapons in other places that if we can't run 3 wide receiver sets because Corey Davis, Garrett Wilson, and Elijah Moore all go down, and our 2 wide receivers are Braxton Berrios and Denzel Mims, screw it. You run those 2 guys, you put CJ, Tyler Conklin, and Jeremy Ruckert out there, there's your 5 wideouts, essentially.
Yeah, I think I agree with all that. I mean, we have to consider, I mean, what I'm considering is just if Corey Davis goes down, right? I mean, it's hard to go with Moore, Wilson, and Berrios. I mean, it's not impossible. I'm just saying it's like we need Mims to really step up, because I still want to have at least one guy who's a little taller, a little bigger, who can, like more of a traditional X-type receiver. I'm not saying we can't survive with 3 quick guys who run great routes. And I mean, with 2 big tight ends, we can move Conklin out a little bit into the slot too and get a big target that way. So I'm not saying it's impossible, but man, I like what Adam said. It really makes a big difference. The Denzel Mims that we're going to get in camp. It really makes a big difference. If he comes back and he's like, if he last year was just a freak blip, and he comes back like the guy that he was as a rookie, that he looked like he was developing into, and that college kid that we knew and drafted, man, that could be special.
Mims is not going to make or break this offense. We are not counting him to play a pivotal role, but he could be the wild card that they need if he comes with his mind and his body right. It'd be interesting to see how much time they give him, like how Mike LaFleur and particularly Mike LaFleur, is going to put the personnel on the field. Are we going to run a lot of 4 wide receiver sets? Is that something we would start doing a lot more? Would we run the 14 more and then put the tight ends down? I think between like Mims, Conklin, those kinds of guys are really going to be competing to get whatever snaps they can get. So those are the types of guys who really need to make the most of whatever time they get on the field, because it's opportunities are you're going to have an opportunity, but it may not last all season. It may only last a couple weeks before you get buried on the depth chart. Clock's ticking, guys. TikTok.
And I said it wrong. I called him Steve Smith instead of Jeff Smith. I don't know.
I know.
Why. Calm down, chat. I'm bad at the first names of the guys that are like 7 or 8 deep on our depth chart.
Mark, we know who you meant. We know.
Okay, so can't wait to see the first play where Wilson, Hall, and Ruckert are all on the field at the same time. and that could
That
happen.
might be preseason game 1.
Yeah,
I'd
well,
say about the third quarter.
Yeah.
definitely see it this season, I'm sure. But I'm wondering. I mean, look, being the tight end 3 is not necessarily, oh, we're not going to get to see him play. Especially because, like we keep saying in this, we've been talking about injuries the whole time, right? The odds that both our tight end 1 and tight end 2 stay healthy the entire year are very slim. So, don't you think we are going to see Ruckert play at some point because of that? Even if they do want to develop him and take it and slow, I think Breece Hall, out of all 3 guys on this offense as rookies, Breece Hall's the one that we're going to see from day 1 the most of. What do you think?
I think I definitely think that's a fair assessment.
I think we see the most of him, but not like I think he's going to get a Michael Carter treatment, honestly.
Yeah.
I think Michael Carter's going to come in as RB1 in the first game, and then
Right.
you're going to slowly see Breece Hall do Breece Hall things, and he's going to really explode onto the scene, and he's going to earn the running back 1 spot. I think this coaching staff really believes in no one gets given their job just because of where you were drafted. Like as far as this Jets coaching staff is concerned, Breece Hall is cornerback 1 and Brandon Eccles is cornerback 2 because DJ Reed and Sauce Gardner haven't earned their spots yet, kind of a thing, right? And so I think we're definitely going to see like the same kind of treatment that we were talking about with Garrett Wilson and all that. I think you're going to see, hey, you're going to have to earn your spot.
I really hope Breece Hall can block well, because how many running backs have we had in the last couple of years who couldn't pass block to save their lives? So that's another big part of being a running back. That is key. You know what? Even just reliable blocking from Jeremy Ruckert, if he could at least do that, if he could run block and pass block well, and then get a couple of catches and get just like a few 4 touchdowns, that's fine. I'm not asking for this guy to be Travis Kelce in his first season, but
Travis
I want
Kelce
to
was
be able to
Travis
trust him.
Kelce in his first season.
There you go. I just want to be able to trust a Jeremy Ruckert, when he is on the field to do his job and not be a liability, and then just continue to get better. So I don't think they're going to give a kid like that more than he could chew from the beginning, and because they don't have to, because they have the depth.
And the other thing to think about too is we're gonna see a big jump in our 22 personnel calls happening, and we know how much this team loves the rotation, right? So you're not going to see, like, if we started throwing in 10, 15 plays of 22 personnel, what are the chances that all of those plays are going to be Tyler Conklin and CJ Uzomah? We're definitely going to see Ruckert on the field, and I think he's going to earn his time there because I think that kid has special in him. He has that potential to be a special tight end.
Yeah. And I like it's funny, we do have 3 tight ends, and we haven't had, when it feels like we've had none for the last 10 to 15 years. It's true. I'm excited about each guy for different reasons. One is just fire. It's just tons of energy, fire, talented. It's just going to be a great, guy like to help the running game and be aggressive and stand up for our quarterback. And I think you know who I'm talking about.
Yep.
And the other, to me, Conklin is a guy who could line up and shift out into the slot and take on a safety one-on-one and easily outpower him and, get a jump ball and all those kind of things. We see there's some really good tape and evidence of that. That's really exciting, but he can also block, right? And that's what's really cool. And because both of our tight ends are veterans who can do both things, so you don't know 100% who's gonna slide out and get that pass, or who's staying into block, or if they both stay in and block, or if both go out for a pass. You just don't know. We could do so many different things, and then you have this rookie that has special written all over him. It's exciting.
I am so interested to see how they use Tyler Conklin.
Yes.
I'm so interested to see
what is he in this offense?
Deep, short passes, H-back, straight tight end, out wide. I feel like he's maybe our most versatile offensive player. He has so much untapped potential.
Conklin to me he's the enigma of this. I am so he's one of the players I'm so excited to see because, like, one, he's so good and we just don't know what he is. Like,
he's he's like that second tight end in fantasy that you draft, and it's like, I'm going to take a flyer on this guy. And if this works, if it doesn't work out, great. But if it works, this could help you win your league. I think Conklin is really that kind of a guy with what he could potentially do. It's just a matter of how he gets utilized. But
He's
I
the
think
guy in fantasy that you draft, right, like you were saying,
Right,
and
yeah.
it's super matchup specific. It's just like, oh, they're going against this team. They're going against the Lions. He's going to have 800 yards.
Just want to say what's up to Friggle D. Good to see you, my friend. Long time no see. Always good to see Friggle. And I say long time no see, but it's not true. He's always stopping in whenever he can. But still, it's just one of those kind of things you say. It's like a social norm, But anyway, we got the sauce of saying that Hall was a solid blocker in college, and typically that translates well in the pros. I agree. I was actually going to say, I don't think that you trade up, not just stay at 38 and pick him, but trade up a few spots to make sure you get him. I don't think you do that for a running back if Joe Douglas doesn't believe he's going to be and have the potential to be very special, which includes being able to block. Because you can't really be a 3-down, very special back if you can't block. And you were saying that before, and it's true. Like, to be a bell cow or a superstar or a great, amazing running back that's going to, one day maybe work their way into being like your star, that, they obviously believe he can block, or he's okay and he'll develop into a good blocker. At least that's what I think. I don't think you trade up. I don't think you use a second-round pick in today's NFL on a running back and even trade up to make sure you get him if you don't believe that he's a full running back that does it all. Any reaction to that, guys?
No, I agree. I think that Breece Hall, we say this and we've been saying this, but it's absolutely true, which is Breece Hall 5 years ago is hands down a first round pick. Breece Hall 10 years ago is a top 5 pick. But the way that we value the running back now is in a very similar way that we value like the safety or the linebacker. It's just not a valuable position anymore. And so they're falling down boards, and you're not seeing these players that are like some of the best at their positions getting taken very highly because the position has become easier to play. It's easier to find a successful running back that's going to give you a very similar level of production later on in the draft. A great example of this is last year. The Steelers took Najee Harris in the first round. With their first pick that they had in the draft, they took Najee Harris. If you project Michael Carter to the same level of carries as Najee Harris across 17 games, Michael Carter is head-to-head just as good and just as effective as Najee is. Now, the problem is Najee played all 17 games and Michael Carter missed some games due to injury. But it's one of those things is we got the same level of production in the fourth round versus who they took in the 20s. So that shouldn't be held against Breece Hall. Breece Hall is an excellent prospect. He was by far the best running back in this draft, and he's going to do special things in this offensive scheme that we run.
Now, I'm just very interested to see how this time really does get divided between these two guys and when each of them is used. And, is there a spot for Tevin Coleman? Will he even see the field? It'll be interesting to see that. And I still like Bam Knight as I hope Bam Knight makes the roster. I got to be honest. Just as a role player, I don't. So, hey, he could be the second returner behind Berrios. So, to me, he's a guy that is worth taking a look at. No, we'll see. And I admit I got a little bit of affinity for the NC State guys. I'm not going to deny that. So, yeah. So, you know what? Let's see. But again, Breece Hall has to earn his way on the field. And I got to be honest, I've been a Carter fan pretty much since the beginning. He's a guy that I'm really looking for. I really want to succeed. And maybe there's a little part of me that doesn't like the idea of Hall just coming right in and taking his job. I will admit there might be a little bit of that inside my head.
Well, they'll make him earn it. All that matters is he performs.
I think Bam Knight, by the way, I think Bam Knight takes a big step next year. I think Bam Knight is a reincarnation of Tevin Coleman. And he does all the things that kind of Tevin Coleman does, just not as good as Tevin Coleman right now. And I think the what you're going to see is I think Bam Knight's going to kind of take Tevin Coleman's spot next year.
Hey, Dom.
What's up, Dom C?
Hello, Dom.
Dom.
What's up, Chris
Dom.
Bradigan? Good to see you here. Dark Soldier came in here while we were talking. Some guy came in here. Iowan came here
Here's my
before.
buddy from
Twinsies! You got to
Rod
go put yours
D.
on if you're not wearing yours. Come on.
Friggledy, Rod D. Everybody, all the D's are here. Good to see everybody. Hey, guys, I am going to let you two run things for a little bit. Everybody knows what I have to do, right? Because I'm 3 hours behind you, and it's 8 o'clock. And what haven't I done on this show yet?
Eat.
All right.
This was not a trick question.
I got to get some food. So take it away. Let me see if there's a question you guys I could throw at you or something.
Not really.
Something for you to react to.
Just I was saying, bam. Yeah, I was acting like
question.
I was like on Emerald Live right now. Bam.
I'll just leave you with Charles. And by the way, welcome, Charles.
Hey, Charles. Go ahead, Tigo.
I've already made, Charles, just to answer that really quickly, I've already made that bet. I put 50 on it before the draft when the odds were even worse, right? Like, that's an easy bet.
I'm not much of a gambler. Where do you go to do yours?
I have a buddy who lives in Pittsburgh who I Venmoed $50.
Ah, I see.
Because it's not legal in Florida.
It's not legal. It will be one day.
I don't count on it.
Slowly but surely, it's going to kind of work its way around. Now, it might be.
Yeah, my son might be in the NFL before it's legal in Florida.
Maybe in parts of Florida, you never. Maybe they'll regionalize it. Who knows? Maybe not at Disney World, but
they're trying to do the whole because we have a lot of reservations out here, like Native American reservations,
right.
And they're trying to work around it by saying that if they host the servers for the gambling on like reserved land, then it's not gambling in Florida, because you can, like, we have casinos in Florida, but they're on national like reservations and Native American reservations and stuff. So like I can go gamble, like I just got to take an hour and 15-minute drive if I wanted to do it. It's just not worth it because I'm not a big gambler. But Dom, that was going to be what I was going to bring up. Dom took it right out of my mouth, which was going to be is like, who are the, like, it kind of leads up to this is like, who are your surprise makes the 53-man roster? Your surprise gets cut. Like, who are the guys that like you ultimately think we end up carrying on the 53-man roster?
So, yeah, it's hard to do. Yeah, I actually have a file on my computer at work. Unfortunately, I don't have access to it, but it's so we're not. Yeah, so we're not going to go through all 53 players. Maybe just some guys
like
who surprise cuts and surprise makes. Yeah, we'd have to probably think this through. I think I'd have to prep a little bit for it, but we can make something work.
But like for me, the way that I look at it is like, I don't see Sheldon Rankins on this team when we come down to the 53-man roster, and it's nothing against Sheldon, but it's everything against his contract and what role does he really play? Like, what is he brought in to do? He's not good in the run stop. He's great in the pass rush, but like, who would you rather have in a pass rushing down up the middle? JFM or Sheldon Rankins?
If that's my choice, it's easily JFM. I would almost even take Solomon Thomas over Sheldon Rankins.
I would too. That was my next one.
I would take Solomon Thomas over it. At least I know it's less money, for one thing.
Yeah. My thing too is like I look at it and I go like, Jermaine Johnson's a big enough dude that like I'd bump him inside too over Rankins. Like on a pass rushing third down, you're telling me I can have Carl Lawson, JFN, Quinnen Williams, or you know what I mean? Like, there are a lot of other players that I look at and I go, they might be more suited to doing that. And Sheldon, as much as I like Sheldon and I have nothing against him as a human being, and I love the idea of keeping as many previous first-round picks on your defensive line as possible, right? I look at that and I go, like, dude, there are other guys. Like, ultimately, if you lose your job, you're going to be replaced realistically by another first round pick in Solomon Thomas.
I mean, we could go through the list. I'm looking at the Jets' current roster, and there are, I think, 16 defensive linemen. We could just go through defensive linemen and say, make it, bubble, or cut. We could actually go through all of those if you want, just to do some, just to get an idea of how many defensive linemen are on this team that they will have to choose. Because there are going to be some hard cuts here. So how about we take a look at the defensive linemen?
How many? The real question that comes out of how many defensive linemen make it to the 53-man roster, do you think? On average, the average number for those who don't know, and just to say it, is a team carries about 9.
I could easily see 10, and I would not be shocked if it was 11. I think 11
I think it's 10 or 11. I think we carry more.
11. Yep. Yeah, I think we're going to sacrifice the line. I think we'll have like 4 linebackers and 11 defensive linemen. I think that's completely reasonable.
Yep.
So, yeah, I'm going to go through some names here, and let's see. So, Jermaine Johnson obviously
makes it.
The team. Bradley Anai.
He's gone.
Okay. I think I'd probably agree. Vinny Curry. Now,
gone.
This is a guy, I really felt was gone, although now that I've watched his press conference this past week, part of me wants to root for him, but at the end of the day, there's got to be a casualty, and I could see it being him because they're going to.
He hasn't played football in a year. I love again, the Jets are in a position where we're going to have to cut or expose good players.
Yep. And
it sucks, but that's what good teams do. And so, like, Vinny Curry to me is a guy he's a cap he's not even a cap casualty. He's just you can't carry everybody. Sorry. And we've got a lot of good players. He's gone.
And we really don't need more than like one year stopgap. You know what I mean? I think we might already have one of those. I don't think we need a second one of them. Put it that way. All right. Curry, JFM making the team, of course. Yep. Bryce Huff.
He makes the team.
I think I'm going to say bubble on him. I think he's going to be in the fighting late for one of those spots. All right. He's not listed on the roster yet because he hasn't officially signed, but Michael Clemens.
He's a bubble guy.
I think it's going to be Huff versus Clemens. I could see it coming down as something like that.
I think it's going to ultimately be, I think Huff earned his spot onto the pass rush. I think what Clemens is going to be competing for is really going to be your Jambari Zunigas, your Vinny Currys, and that's really who he's going to be competing for that last spot. Is going to be him, or like would they rather carry Tanzel Smart, like that kind of thing, right? I think Tanzel Smart's a casualty,
yeah,
but it's one of those things where it's just like, I think Bryce Huff did enough last year that he's on this team moving forward, and the real guy that are on the bubble might not make it. For me, or like your Vinny Currys, your Zunigas, your Sheldon Rankins. Those are the guys. It's like, you got to prove to me that we should carry you over Michael Clemens or Jacob Martin or something like that. And I love Jacob Martin. He's on the team for me.
Yeah, Jacob Martin. Yeah, but they're not going to cut Clemens unless they totally have to.
Absolutely not.
Oh, welcome back. Yeah, we're just going through some defensive linemen because we have about 16 or 17, and we're trying to figure out who will make the team, who might be on the bubble, and who might get cut.
So we're talking about potential cuts and like what does the 53-man roster kind of look like?
Yeah, because there's so many guys here. You have to cut somebody, and it's not going to be a pleasant process, but we got to do it.
This year is going to be so much harder than last year.
Yes.
When we do our shows of predicting the top, the 53. It's going to be so hard.
It is. I mean, and then you get to guys like Carl Lawson making the team, of course. Jonathan Marshall, I don't think he's going away this year. I think he gets another year
carried
to grow. Yep, he'll stay on.
I don't think he's on the 53 though.
You think practice squad? That's possible.
100%.
If they could get him
I don't think anyone's going to claim him. He's a 6th-round pick. Hasn't played very many snaps or anything on. I think he's easily a practice squad guy that we can carry because I think he needs another year.
Okay. Jacob Martin, we said, is staying.
I love this guy. He's on the team.
Yep. Sheldon Rankins, I think that's like our cut at this point. Yeah, that's one of the surprise cuts. Hamilcar Rashed Jr. You think practice squad for him?
Probably.
Yeah,
him and Tanzel Smart are like.
I was getting to Tanzel, yeah.
Those are the two guys that might, because again, we only have 16 practice squad spots. And how many of that do we want to be these defensive interior guys that ultimately might not turn into anything. I believe in Jonathan Marshall, but like Tanzel Smart, the gentleman with a very complicated name that you just mentioned, is one of those things where I look at it and I go, is that more important than, let's say, DQ Thomas, who might be a practice squad guy? Is that guy more important than Bam Knight, who's I ultimately think is going to be a practice squad guy? Is that guy more important than Kenny Yeboah, who's going to be a practice? You know what I mean? Those are the things that I look at and I go, who would I rather have? Like Tanzel Smart or DQ, because I'd rather DQ. And it's a hard conversation to have.
And the more I go through these names as I read them, I feel like we've got so many of the same type of player at defensive tackle, in particular. Like
they're
the
all pass
small,
rushing defensive tackles,
speedy guys. Yeah, that's what we have. Nathan Shepard, a little more of the run stopper, but I think he makes the team.
I think this coaching staff loves him.
The coaching staff loves him, but I don't think anybody has brought a Nathan Shepard jersey in a couple years, if anybody. And if they did, it was probably the Salvation Army. Solomon Thomas, I think he makes the team.
Big year. I'm predicting.
I'm going to say he stays on. Tim Ward, I think, goes. I don't think Ward's going to make it at this point, not with the players we have. Quinn Williams, enough said, move on. He's making it. And we still have Zuniga. I think time's up on him.
Yeah, Zuniga's gone.
I think it's over for him. So
what's up, Big Nick?
Yeah, so we cut Zuniga, Ward. In terms of the 53, let's just talk about the guys who are on the 53. So the Quinnen, Thomas, Shepard, Jacob Martin, Jonathan Marshall, Carl Lawson. We're thinking either Huff or Clemens, one of the two. Is that where we're gonna go? Is that what we're comfortable with going with?
What was that? I'm sorry?
Huff versus Clemens. Maybe one of them makes it.
I think both of them make it.
You think both of them make it? Then we have JFM and Jermaine Johnson.
How many is that?
I think that was 11.
Yeah, that's right around where I think we carry.
Yeah, so I think that's
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 9 guys right now.
Okay, let's go.
That are 100%. So I have, just to count on mine, I have Carl Lawson.
All right.
Quinnen Williams.
Okay.
JFM.
Okay.
Jermaine Johnson.
4.
Solomon Thomas.
5.
Huff.
6.
Zuniga. I'm not sorry. Huff. Martin.
7.
Clemens.
8. Yep, I agree.
And that's where, like, Nathan Shepard, 9. Who am I missing? Because in my mind, I cut Vinny Curry and Sheldon Curry. Marshall's a practice squad guy. We don't carry him on the roster.
Okay. Oh, you want to keep him on the practice squad. Okay.
Yeah, he stays on the practice squad.
Rankins is gone. You mentioned Jacob Martin.
That's 9 guys. So then we could keep Sheldon Rankins or Vinny Curry at that point.
And then at that point, we're talking Kurt. Okay, at that point, we're talking Anai, we think, is gone.
I think Anai's gone. I think Tanzel Smart is gone.
That's it. Yeah. Hamilcar Rashid, same thing. We mentioned Shepard. I think that's 9 guys, and then you could keep one of these veterans. So
yeah, then you can keep Vinny Curry or Rec. That would put us at 9, which is what most teams carry.
I think
we carry 10.
We need 10.
So you could realistically carry both Rankins and Curry onto this team, onto the 53, and be fine with it, and not have to worry about it that much. And you could just run Lawson, Rankins, Williams, Myers, Curry, Shepard, Thomas, JJ, Huff, Martin, Clemens. There's 11 guys if you really want to run the extra defensive lineman.
Okay. 5, 6. Just in United, it's counting Lawson, Huff, Martin, Clemens, and JJ at defensive end. Defensive tackle Quinnen, JFM, Rankins, Shepard, Thomas, and Marshall. So the question is, the only one I think we're having an issue, I think we would keep Rankins out. Well, he's taking Rankins and leaving out Curry. Put it this way, if you guys had to go with either keeping Rankins on the roster or Curry on the roster, who are you going with?
Rankins. He played last year. That's literally where it comes down to.
I just didn't like the way he played last year at all. I felt he was just such a liability.
I agree, but until I see what Curry looks like on the field, that's my biggest concern is that Curry goes onto the field and then the issue comes back up and he's gone for the year, and we wasted a roster slot on Curry cut Rankins, and now we got to bring in Jabari Zuniga to replace him. You know what I mean? And ultimately, I think we end up carrying more defensive ends than we do defensive tackles.
Yeah, Jets Fan United has 5 ends and 6 tackles, and that's if you count JFM as a defensive tackle, which is where I hope he plays.
I count him as a defensive tackle as well.
Yeah,
but the other question is, where do you count Thomas? Is he a defensive tackle or is he a defensive end? You know what I mean?
Defensive tackle. Yeah,
he plays both, and there's that whole kind of thing. And ultimately, I would agree with his list. I have no problem with his list. I just don't think Marshall makes the 53-man roster. I think he's on the practice squad.
Okay. It's a fun debate, and let's hope that we don't have a lot of injuries because that tends to sort it out pretty well. Yeah, let's hope it doesn't come to that, although deep down we probably know one of these guys is going to start the year on like IR or something like that.
Oh, 100%. Like somebody's going to get hurt. Somebody's going to start. Somebody mentioned it. I think Jets Fan United mentioned about Sherwood starting on the PUP list, right? Like somebody's going to start on the PUP list. Like somebody's going to start on IR. So we're going to be able to carry some extra players, and that's going to ultimately be good. But like the defensive, I think the biggest questions that are going to be like, who are we going to carry and all that stuff? And I think the funnest conversations to have are both going to be on the defensive side of the ball, because it's ultimately going to be, how many defensive linemen do we take? How many defensive backs do we take? Yep. And how many linebackers do we sacrifice to carry more defensive linemen and defensive backs? Because we've got so many good defensive backs. On average, a team carries 10, right? So if we're carrying 9 defensive linemen on average, but we've replaced one of our linebackers to carry an extra defensive back. So instead of carrying 7 linebackers, we're now carrying 6, right? Because that's how it breaks down normally, to carry an additional defensive lineman. Where does the defensive, do we just carry 10 defensive backs? It's a really interesting like exercise to go through, because again, when we look at our defensive back kind of conversation, you look at it and you go, well, we know Gardner, we know Reed, we know Jordan Whitehead. Those are write it in ink on stone, carb, like whatever you want, right? Tattoo that on your forehead. Michael Carter, probably. Breece Hall, probably. Ashton Davis, probably. LaMarcus Joyner, probably. We've got 3 defensive backs left. We haven't mentioned Elijah Riley, Jason Pinnock, Will Parks, Brandon Eccles, Javelin Guidry. Like, we haven't mentioned any of those guys. And so, like, it's another conversation to have, is the defensive back room is really, really interesting, because, like, again, it's so many good players that I want to see on this team that we're not going to, like, you know, who's a player that I unfortunately think is going to be a casualty of the whole situation, but I really want to see him on the team because I want to see what he's going to look like. Like Kai Nakua. I want to see what he can do, but he might just be a casualty because we've got a lot of other players. Will Parks is another one of those guys, which is just like, I would love to see Will Parks get some snaps.
I'd rather have Parks more than I'd rather have Riley, to be honest. I
like Riley over Parks.
Maybe I'm just bitter over the Tampa game. I can't get over it. Just because it was Brady. But we only have 7 linebackers under contract right now. And if Sherwood starts the year on the PUP list, now you're down to 6. You're down to Marcel Harris, CJ, Nasruddin, Deshaun Phillips, who's a special teamer, Quincy Williams, and DQ Thomas.
Do we have Javin White?
I think they might have White listed as a safety, but let's see here. So find him. Yeah, I'll sort this. I'm on the Jets website right now. I just got like the whole thing. Javin White's listed as a defensive back, not a linebacker. So who knows? Oh yeah, we still have like Rashad Wildgoose. Can't forget him.
Yeah, I think it's one more safety, Dom. Again, on average, you see that teams carry about 10.
3 safeties? Yeah, that's a tough. So you have to have Joyner. I'm sorry. Joyner's on the team for me, as long as he can. If Joyner can run, he's on the team.
Yeah.
So you have Jordan. You have Joyner. You have Whitehead. And then, I mean, I don't think Ashton Davis is gone yet. And then after that was safety. I mean,
you got to put Pinnock
3
in
safeties. There. You got to put in Pinnock, and then you can make a case for either Riley or Parks. You mentioned Kai Nakua. I mean, you also have who
He's a
else?
practice squad guy.
You have Tony Adams. You have Javante Moffett.
I think Moffitt's gone.
Yeah,
Isaiah
Moffett
Dunn's
probably
gone.
goes. Yeah, but I would
Hardy's
prefer,
gone, I think.
Yeah, I prefer. Who's gone?
Hardy.
You really think
I know that we
Hardy's
brought
gone?
him in to be a special teamer kind of a thing.
I don't think they're letting him go.
I don't
don't
see
see it.
how you carry him.
I just
don't see how you carry him. Like you have Eccles learn to play his special teams role, or like I don't know. Like Hamza can go play. Like it's one of those things where I just look at it and I go, how are you going to carry and waste a spot of your 10 defensive backs on Justin Hardy just to be a special teamer when like you have a special team coach, like go have him learn, like, cause you look at it and go, the starting wide like corners, linebacker, corner safety, right? And your Gardner, Joyner, Whitehead, Reed, Hall, Carter, right? Make the team. You have to carry an extra safety. Right now it's Pinnock. I think Ashton Davis earned his spot on the team. Davis. I don't think you cut Eccles, and I don't think you cut Isaiah. Not Isaiah. I don't think you cut
Isaiah Dunn.
Javelin Guidry. There's 10 defensive backs right there. You're really going to tell me that instead of carrying a backup slot corner to play behind Michael Carter, you're going to take Justin Hardy, who can't play really defense? Like, I don't want to see him in the defensive back room at all. All of the other guys that I mentioned are guys that I would feel much more comfortable if, God forbid, all 4 of our guys went down on the cornerback and the safeties. The 4 guys that I listed as their backups, I feel much more comfortable in. I like Justin Hardy, and I think that this coaching staff does, but like, how do you keep him over a Javelin Guidry, over a Jason Pinnock, over a Brandon Eccles? I just don't see how you can do it.
I see Guidry. I would say Guidry could go and be on the practice squad. I just don't think I can't lose Hardy. I don't want to lose Hardy after the season. I like his leadership, his energy. Remember 2 years ago, like how many times Braden Mann had to make a tackle? With a guy like Justin Hardy on there, that never really happened last year. He really made an impact. You know, sometimes he would be over aggressive, but I felt he set the tone on special teams, and that was one place where we really improved was in kick coverage. And Hardy was always the first player down the field. And you know what? I don't care about saving the $2 million on him. I think it makes a difference. And
it has
I'm not
nothing
ready
to do with
him.
money.
I'm just throwing that.
I
out
like
too.
Hardy.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this question to counteract the Hardy thing. Do you think DQ Thomas makes the 53? Because if DQ makes the 53, I think I gotta watch him play. DQ can do Justin Hardy's job. He was a special teamer at what school did he go to? Oh, I don't know. I don't remember. It's not important. And I agree, Dom. I get what you're saying about gunners, and special teams are very, very important. For a long time, the best thing the Jets had was our special teams.
Yep.
And I get it. Special teams is really important. But is losing a guy like Eccles worth Justin Hardy on special teams? That's my question.
I don't think it's going to be Eccles. I think it'll be like a backup slot. Middle Tennessee State is where DQ went.
Tennessee State.
If anybody cares. So I'm just not ready to lose Hardy. I would rather give up. I don't mind losing Guidry. I mean, there's just we have to give up a player somewhere. And I'm sorry. I think the leadership and the intangibles are just a little bit too valuable.
And that's cool.
Guidry's
like if you say Guidry's gone, like, and I'm okay with that. I just would rather have Guidry because that's course number 8. He's moving on to course number 9 now.
Oh boy.
I guess it's how much do you value like the special team specialist over the backup, whatever, right? Like, and
I just felt, I think because I've seen, we've all seen what a difference. Oh boy, I can only imagine what the next course is like if he's turning his camera off. But we've seen what a different special teams used to be able to make.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the way the league is now, it doesn't make as big of a difference. That's the one thing that I could see the argument for letting him go, because the league is doing whatever they can to minimize special teams. But I think that this is a team that also they really struggled in field position. They had like the worst starting field position and surrendered the best starting field position. So I want to look for any advantage that I can get. So to me, coverage and stuff like that makes a difference, and stuff like that is why I like Hardy. I like his aggression, and I think he sets the tone. And he's going to be a captain. He's going to be a special teams captain. They're not going to let a potential captain go. We know how much this team craves leadership,
Again,
especially for a
somebody's
team
got
that's
to
still
get
young.
cut. Again, it's like I said, man. The
It's gonna hurt
defensive
us.
back and the defensive line room are the most interesting rooms to talk about because it's like who makes it, who doesn't make it. It's a super because you can make an argument for a lot of these guys. Excuse me, for a lot of these guys.
You have to make a decision. Don makes an interesting point. All right, I could get on board with 10 defensive backs if you want to add a fourth safety, but it's going to come at the cost of a guy like running back 4, tight end 4, or linebacker 6. I'd be very surprised if we have 6 linebackers on this team for one thing. I think it's going to be 5.
I think it's tight end 3 that gets cut.
Tight
Tight end
end
4
4?
gets cut. I'm sorry, yeah. I think what ultimately happens is I think we run 3 tight ends.
My hope is like Kenny Yeboah would at least have like the Dan Brown role where he plays primarily on special teams and can get an offensive snap here or there. I would like him to be a better version of Dan Brown for right now because I just don't think the snaps are there for him. But to me, 5 linebackers is enough to start the season. Because like I said, we have 7 under contract and one of them is probably going to start the season on the PUP list. So to me, give me the extra safety over the linebacker.
We really need to see what Tyler Conklin and Jeremy Ruckert can do in the run game. Because ultimately, I think we're also going to sacrifice running back 4 for Nick Bawden, who's going to ultimately end up taking that running back 4 spot. So for me, the way that I see it is instead of 4 running backs, it'll be 3 running backs with Nick Bawden at fullback, 3 tight ends to take the extra defensive back, 6 wide receivers, 9 offensive linemen, and then you go over to the defensive side of the ball, which I think we carry 10 defensive linemen, 10 defensive backs, and 6 linebackers, and there's your 53.
And do you think Wesco's gone? Because I think his time is up. You said Bond's the fullback, and we're only doing 3 tight ends. I mean, there's no really room for Wesco.
Again, it just depends on what happens with Bawden. If Bawden is the casualty because we like what Tyler Conklin or Jeremy Ruckert can do in the running game, Wesco makes it as tight end 4. I think that's where the swing is where do we want a tight end 4 or do we want a running back 4? Like it's that real question of I agree with Dom. I would like to see like Wesco gone. And if that means we carry Bawden, and I liked Bawden in that fullback role, I would much rather just do that, carry Bawden as the tight end 4/fullback, and that's how you run it.
You know, I think a roster spot could be between tight end 4, which let's say is Yeboah, and Bawden. It might come down to one of the two. I would love to keep both, but I think one of them will probably have to go.
Yeboah is back on the practice squad.
Probably. I like Bawden, I gotta say. I still remember that block he threw on that Berrios kickoff return, and right there I said, this is the kind of attitude I want. I like this guy.
And like the thing too is Bawden has such a build. He really looks like he can be our use check.
Mm-hmm.
He has a very similar, not as good as use check, right? I'm not trying to use check is the GOAT, but he has a very similar skill set, looks very kind of like, again, Bawden looks very use check-esque in when he's playing. That's how it plays out.
Yeah, I'd have loved to have taken a run at Patrick Ricard over the offseason, but I don't think we're in a position to spend that kind of money on a fullback. So yeah, you can't spend huge money in every single position. You got to pick and choose when you have as many holes as we have had. So. Okay, anybody not seen or heard Ruckert out there practicing? Is he still nursing that foot injury?
He is. The reports are that he's still he's working with the recovery team and like the medical staff to get back, but the expectation from what I've heard is that he's back at 100% speed by the beginning of the year. Like he should be playing in preseason and stuff.
Yeah, but the only thing the coach said was the team's hoping he will be able to get some work in during the spring. Well, the spring is over. So I think at this point it's a situation, and that was 3 weeks ago. So, yeah, you just hope he's ready in 2 months around the time the training camp starts.
Yeah,
And,
we got like 10 weeks until the first game. We
got a while. Yeah, I'm not worried about guys starting on any type of list right now, outside of like a Sherwood because it was an Achilles injury. So,
and it was late.
Yes, it was. Yeah, it wasn't like Lawson where it happened like in August.
Like early, yeah, where he could like Lawson's still recovering. Like he's still not at full speed.
Yeah,
he will be.
I mean, he says he'll be ready, but I wonder when is that going to be? Like, is he going to be ready in June?
He'll be ready before like mandatory practices start.
If I had to take my pick on who I want to be ready immediately between Becton and Lawson, it's definitely Becton because I got plenty of confidence in Lawson, in his dedication and his work ethic. I just have a ton of faith in Carl Lawson. Becton, I'm hopeful, but I still believe he's incredibly capable, but I am a little bit hesitant. I'm not ready to go all in with Mekhi Becton just yet.
Well,
I'm sold on it.
It looks like
I love his talent. I love his ability, but mentally, I'm a little bit worried.
What I see in his videos looks like a guy who's going to be ready to play by, by camp. I mean, he's carrying tons of weight on his shoulder. He's walking back and forth with it. So he's putting tremendous amounts of weight on that knee.
Well,
and my thing is
Duke,
Lawson, man.
Already. Let's see. Let's see Lawson versus Becton round 2, and let's see who wins this time.
Yeah, my thing is also going to end up ultimately being is Manny Weathers not going to let Becton Becton's success at this point is almost directly tied to like Manny Weathers coaching and recovery and rehab and all that stuff. And there's a lot of guys that go to Duke's like school in Texas and all that stuff. It's one of the best offensive line schools in the country. And so like, I have total faith, not in Becton per se, but I have total faith in Duke and the program that he runs and what he asks of his players, because it's a very exclusive, not everyone gets to just go, like, you know what I mean? Like, not everyone can just be at Duke Manny Weathers. You gotta be good enough to hang.
Well, for a guy who basically shut down Aaron Donald and Nick Bosa in his rookie season, we know he can do it. But, he's got to do it consistently.
Yes, he is. It's one of the reasons I love Max. I'm going to make a Max Mitchell is good shirt just for me. I'm doing it. I'm gonna go to Joanne's tomorrow.
Depends how large the pancakes are. Are we talking silver dollars? Are we talking like big plates of pancakes? Which
About Aaron Donald size pancakes.
That sounds like a good sized pancake. Guys, what's your favorite type of pancake?
The defensive end on the other team. However big that guy is, that's how big my pancakes got to be.
Banana macadamia nut sauce in this place in Hawaii.
Oh, look at you bougie SOB. You're breaking out the macadamia nut. The only nut that's more expensive than a pine nut. You went with macadamia nuts, man. I like the pumpkin. I like making pumpkin pancakes in the fall and putting in some toasted pecans in there for the crunch with some cinnamon infused butter. Good stuff.
I don't like pancakes.
I don't like pancakes. He doesn't like sweets.
I don't.
Oh, that's right.
One day we gotta hold him down and force him to
Look, I'll eat it. If we're at a buffet, I'd much rather get like 6 pounds of bacon than a pancake.
I actually did that this past weekend, but that's neither here nor there.
As
Jeremy saw.
I think Nick Shine's excuse for not coming on tonight was something about somebody showed up with 100 cans of beer. So I don't know. Something like that. And I didn't understand, why can't you just come on the show and drink while you're on the show? But I'm assuming that means he's hanging out with the person who brought the beer.
Yeah, we could have like captions to be like 30 minutes later and then 60 minutes later, and we could
He's
just
like
watch the
shoving a
steady
chicken.
timeline.
Yeah, he's like shoving a chicken cutlet Parmesan hero down his mouth, washing it down with beer. He's probably got us playing in the background. So
He probably does.
Who's
Yeah,
wide
he
receiver 6 on
probably
this team?
does.
You think it's Jeff right now?
Jeff
Right
Smith.
now, I gotta say, just I would like to see Charles to see what kind of player he is, but right now, I gotta assume the last spot goes to Jeff Smith until it's shown otherwise.
Look, there's a couple of kids like Charles and the other one that are impressive.
Krishan Abrams, I think, is
Yeah.
the wide receiver 6 right
Abrams.
They're
now. What he
exciting
brings
the
to
hell out of
special
them.
teams,
Does he have potential as a wide receiver?
he does. He's a big boy.
Is he like 6'4"?
Yeah.
Runs like a
6'2",
4'5".
6'2", 195.
Oh, okay.
But it's just one of those things where he also apparently he played special teams at Kent State as well. So it's one of those things where I look at it and I go, Smith is on the team, but like Krishan Abrams, watch out, 6'2", just to have another big body, because then we'd have 3 big bodies, guys who are over 6'2", and Corey Davis, Denzel Mims, and Krishan Abrams, and then 3 guys under 6 foot, Braxton Berrios, Elijah Moore, and Garrett Wilson.
Just as long as I don't have to see DJ Montgomery or Tariq Black on the field ever again, I will be happy.
Yeah, what about Calvin Jackson Jr. though? I'm hearing all kinds of
Yeah.
crazy stuff about him.
Yeah, he's like 5'9". He's like
5'10".
a little guy, so he must be pretty. He must be pretty freaking fast. And he went where you go? He went to Washington State. Yeah, 5'9", 193. Yeah, and currently, and this is always important. He's a single digit wide receiver. So yeah, he's one of them single digit guys. Yeah, I mean, we got to see some of these guys play. We got a lot of unknowns when it comes to the depth of wide receivers. So, I mean, I look forward to it, but I saw enough of DJ Montgomery next year to know I never want to see him again wearing our uniform.
I just don't think he makes it. I think it's one of those guys where, like, you keep him temporarily because you just kind of have to. You know?
Any chance we keep Lawrence Cager? If we do, something will have gone incredibly wrong.
It's like, why? Like, why keep him? Like, over who?
Well, he's converting to tight ends, which is a bad move for him based on what this team just did at the tight end position.
Like, you're not beating CJ, Tyler, or Jeremy. You're not beating Nick. You're not beating Kenny. You're probably not even beating Trayvon. So you're what? You're tight end 7 on this team right now, Lawrence. Like it's a hard position to be in right now.
I swear, every time somebody mentions the name of Lawrence Cager, I'm like, oh, that's right, we still have him.
Yeah, he is on the Jets.
Every time I forget he's a Jet.
Well, he keeps getting hurt. The bad luck.
I know. I feel for the guy. I really, really do. But it's like, you can't make the club in the tub, as one great coach said. Yeah. How many 21 pounds of muscle? Okay, this guy added muscle. This guy's picking up the playbook. This guy cut like half a second off his 40 time or whatever. It's not. Doesn't this feel like the second combine all of a sudden this time of year? All of a sudden we're talking about immeasurables and all this type of stuff.
Zach
put
on 20
it doesn't tell me who's going to make
whatever. That Zach put on like 13 pounds and just
this doesn't tell us who's making the roster.
Well, we'll. I mean, it means he's dedicated to this change. He wanted to convert to tight end. People liked him as a receiver and think he has a lot of talent. So now all of a sudden, with all the muscle, can he be? I don't know. Can he block? I mean, is he really gonna? Is it going to matter to us, even if he did somehow make the practice squad or team? I mean, the last thing we want is to ever be that far down in the depth chart that we'd have to consider using Lawrence Cager at tight end.
Oh boy, he may not even see the field in the final preseason game.
He might not make the field for the preseason. Like, that's the thing. Like, it's hard. Lawrence Cager got put in a position of like, there's nowhere for him to play. He wasn't going to make it in the wide receiver room. And he for sure, after what we did this offseason, wasn't going to make it in the tight end room. There's no winning with this guy. Which sucks because you like to see him work out, but it's just like It was like
Yeah,
what ultimately happened to Anunwa or Herndon, right? Like it's just like potential gets you fired. Like
potential means you ain't done jack yet.
it's one of those like it's why the Derek Stingley pick is a bad pick for Houston. Because that pick is going to get Nick Caserio fired. Like that's the pick that makes or breaks his career. Because next year, when they end up ultimately having the first overall pick, they're going to take whoever the consensus number one quarterback is, and you're not going to be able to get blamed for that, right? Like Trevor Lawrence. If Trevor Lawrence doesn't work out, Balky's not going to get blamed for that pick because he's going to be able to fall back on the fact of, well, of course I took Trevor Lawrence. Everybody thought Trevor Lawrence was going to be something, and he ultimately wasn't. And it's one of those things where it's just like, that's fine. It's just you get the point. It's just potential gets you fired. Derek Stingley hasn't played football in like 2 years. We got to find out what he's going to be. And ultimately, if he works out, he's probably one of the best corners in football. But like, how do you pass up on Sauce there? Like, it just seems so dumb to me.
It seems in just incredibly. I mean, it's incredible to me. I mean, think about it this way: the Jets' room with JD and Salah, all of them exploded with joy when they took Stingley. So they're that sure. It wasn't like, oh, it's close. It's like it wasn't like it was this really close thing. Where
they would have taken either one of them.
Right. It wasn't that. There was such a gap between how they felt about Stingley and Sauce that they erupted in emotional cheering.
I think the only Jets fans or personnel who weren't necessarily overjoyed were probably you and Dom. Because you're both a little bit bullish on Stingley. Diego, you too? Okay.
Not because of Sauce. I loved Sauce. Sauce was my
Right.
second best player in this draft.
We wanted Edge.
I wanted JJ. I wanted JJ at 4 no matter what. Getting him at 26 was awesome. But
I feel like I was probably the happiest Jets fan I know when they took Sauce at 4. I was overjoyed, knowing their needs. But I was like, oh my God. But even after the 10th pick, it's like, okay, this is great, but. And even with me, there was a but it's like we took the two best players potentially at their positions with the highest floors. Fantastic. And
now, Dark, did you still want KT after the news that came out that he's not looking good in Giants camp? And Giants apparently are doing like full padded workouts and stuff.
No, I mean,
right?
this was the draft. He's talking about at draft time.
No, I understand. I'm talking about hindsight's 2020 now.
Right.
You still feel this way? I was out on KT. I did not want anything to do with Kayvon Thibodeau. But
are they saying he doesn't look good in camp? Is that true?
They're saying he's looking. They used an SAT word. It's that he's looking pedestrian at camp.
Is he Kayvon just strikes me as the type of guy who might want the fame before the sweat. Am I the only one who feels that way?
I was talking about this where it was just like, dude, I have no problem with you building your brand or any of that stuff, right? My thing comes back to, how about you build your brand when your brand means something? How long did it take Russell Wilson to make his brand? And he won a Super Bowl. Had anybody heard anything about TB12, like the company, until a couple of years ago? The man had 3 Super Bowl rings before he started his own company and doing his own things like that. Like Von Miller, like up until like 2-3 years ago, was one of the best edge rushers in the league, didn't have his own brand. Like, you're coming in as a rookie who's not even considered the consensus number 1 player at your position, let alone the best player in this draft, which he wasn't. And every single time you talk about branding and all of this, and I have no problem, you got to build up a nest egg. The NFL stands for not for long, but you got to earn the right to have that conversation, man. Can't just look at Baker. Baker thought he was some tough stuff, comes in, dude, he's out of a job and no one wants him.
The more that I felt like with this draft, because this was the deepest I ever tried to go into a draft and into the players, I felt like every couple of days my priorities were changing, the positions I wanted were changing, and what I thought the Jets wanted to do, it felt like that kept changing. I mean, when I did when we did our big mock, I had Kayvon going to the Jets, but then the more I thought about it in the week or two leading up to it, I'm like, he is not the kind of guy they're going to take on. They're not going to go for the most talented player if they're not a big fan of his character. And they brought him in, I think even 3 times into a Florham Park.
Just to see what this guy was. And
they got a thorough evaluation. They knew what they were going to be getting. I just don't think that he was a priority for them. And you know what? I understand that and I support it. I get it. Because Tibbs has bust potential. Sauce, to me, the only way Sauce cannot work out is if he gets hurt. There is no other way I could see Sauce failing.
Sauce, here's the thing with Sauce, right? Sauce is a starter. That's the thing. He's a starter. Whether that's CB1, CB2, he's a starter in this league for many, many years. He works. Kayvon is boom or bust. And I think he's a bust. I just wasn't the biggest fan of Kayvon.
No,
I hope it works out. Like,
no doubt.
I never wish any ill will about, like, these guys work their entire lives and all this stuff. And I'm happy that he got drafted and the man's going to get a payday. But I get it, Jets Fan United. I know that it's a contract situation. I'm talking crap about another player from another team that I don't care about. Gosh.
I just needed to throw that in your face.
They don't wear green and white. We hate them. That's how this works.
I don't know.
They don't wear green and white, and they play in Philadelphia. We hate them.
Oh, how I miss Nick and wish she was here.
He check private message.
I did.
Yeah.
I just don't know where he is. I hope he's supposed to know. Like the New York Giants more than anything.
Exactly, Emanon. How it works. I was talking about Baker. No one wants him. I don't care that he's due like $20-something million, and that's really why people don't want him. As far as I'm concerned, no one wants that guy.
Sorry, guys.
Mm-hmm.
KT, the Jinx, Vernon Gulston. That would be nice.
That's saying a lot. maybe Copels. I'll give you that one. I think
that's a good one.
He'll get on the field, but will he make much of an impact, and will he be around more than a couple of years? Because if he falls from grace, it's going to be a hard, loud fall.
You know who I think he ultimately ends up kind of looking like? Solomon Thomas.
No, I think he's gonna look much uglier. I think he's gonna look like this.
I see the resemblance.
Why the fuck did I come on here?
You asked for the invite.
I'm sorry. Some of my buddies showed up. 30-pack.
Only a 30-pack? Freaking lightweight. 30-pack of what exactly?
Oh, no, that was for me, the 30-pack.
Oh.
It was hard seltzers.
I'm assuming, yeah. I'm thinking maybe a little high noon, 30-pack. Yeah, I've got
Why am I nice to you guys?
The Freedom can. So
why am I nice to you guys? I don't get it.
You're late. We get to rag on you. That's how it works. Just like when the rookie waits to sign his deal, so he's like late to training camp and all that stuff. He gets ragged on a little bit more than everybody else. That's what happened. You took too long to sign your deal. It was why are you and your agent arguing about the contract? It's set
Are
in
your
stone
balls
already.
going to drop that low if your wife's late? You're going to go at her if your wife's late? He's just coming at me if I'm late?
Yes, she's not even late yet, and we're already going at each other's throats because we want this baby out.
it was just the incentive language in the contract that kept Nick out. Oh boy.
Evil people. Thank you, Dark Soldier. Thank you.
I never said I wasn't happy to see him. That's not what I
said. You never
said.
said you were, but you never said you were.
But I didn't say I wasn't.
You didn't ask us.
I can be apathetic to your appearance.
Damn you. That was worded perfectly. I don't even have to come back for that.
Jeremy's on the 30-pack of beers. I think Tigo's on the 30-pack of energy drinks.
Hey, not energy drinks. Half
It
and
looked-
halves.
Arnold Paul. Okay, the Arnold Paul. You know, you're drinking it so quickly, I couldn't see the freaking can, bro.
Yeah, no, I love these things. I go through
Dude,
like a 16 pack of these in a day.
Dude, this is you taking a drink. So my next point is
Look, I talk a lot. You gotta inhale your beverages so that you very little
Takes
time
every
between
sip
talking.
like it's a shot of Black House at a bar in Wildwood.
Black House? Is that what you said?
Well, I'm 43. Yeah,
Black I don't even know what Black House is.
Black House, Rumpelmans, Goldschlager.
I've heard of Goldschlager at least. Okay.
I've heard of
Is it-
Goldschlager for sure.
Is this on the level of like Ice House and Keystone Light? Is that where we're going?
No, well, these were like the cheap man liquors. When you first
Oh,
like
the
were
liquor.
18, 19, 20, and then
Yeah.
you turned 21, you went with the cheap stuff.
All the girls like Goldschlager because it had little gold crystals in it and it tasted like cinnamon. Right? That was in that movie Bad Boys, I think. Not Bad Boys. It was that movie with what was the name of that movie with the two kids? It was one of those
The
man.
movie
I'm
with the
forgetting.
two kids, Hall Pass.
No. It was the one
We
they
Are the
had-
Millers.
They had to get liquor for a party.
Super bad.
Yeah, super bad. Yeah. That Goldschlager was the one the girl wanted that he was trying to impress.
Yeah, Adam the amateur. Yeah, when it comes to like 15-cent liquors, yeah, I'd be an amateur on that one. Yes. Mariota is a star. Yeah, Mariota is a starter.
So what's the discussion? What are we talking about?
Incorrect. Baker is not better than Mariota. I'll stand this. I like Mariota more than Baker.
Yeah, we've been
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, we've been talking about
Yes.
potential cuts, who we think's going to make the roster, who's not going to make the roster, and if you keep this guy, who do you sacrifice? We've been talking about that for a little while now.
Mariota on the Browns for all those years probably has a Super Bowl appearance.
Wait,
I'm
what?
saying it. I don't like Baker. I was so happy.
So you
when they
think
took
that if
Baker, like, in
Mariota
that
was
draft-
the quarterback the last couple of years, they make the Super Bowl with
Yes.
Mariota?
Yes. With the way that team was built and how good they were.
That's
OBJ
cool.
is still on that team. Like, that team with Marcus Mariota under center is ultimately better than what Baker was able to do with them. Baker is a below average quarterback.
And you think, wow, you think
I think
Mariota's-
Mariota is
Mariota's
average.
that good?
I think Mariota's average. That's
Or
what
he
they
thinks
need.
that
They need an
Baker's that
average
bad, right?
quarterback.
I
I
guess
don't.
so.
It's not that I think Mariota's that good. I think people overvalue Baker because of the team that's around him. How long has he had some of the best? Like, how long has they had one of the best offensive linemen, one of the best pass rushes? Like, that team built around them should win a Super Bowl, and they're not because Baker's horrible.
They went through a string of lousy coaches. Let us not forget that.
Absolutely. But Mike McCarthy has a Super Bowl win, and he's a lousy coach, right? It's easy to do it when you have one of the best throwers of the football of all time. But, like,
Doug Peterson has a Super Bowl.
I like Doug Peterson, but as well, like, but it's one of those things where it's just like, I just don't think Baker's that good of a quarterback. I don't think Baker is going to get a spot where he starts. Baker's going to get the same treatment as like, oh, but he was a first round pick. So he's going to keep getting these jobs everywhere, but he's ultimately going to end up being Teddy Bridgewater. He's just going to be bridge quarterback for bridge quarterback for bridge quarterback for bridge quarterback. He's never going to really get that Kirk Cousins treatment where they're like, oh, it just didn't work in Cleveland or like it didn't work in Washington. So we're going to bring him over here and he's our guy. I don't think that's what he is.
Do you guys think
I'd rather have Mitch Trubisky than Baker right now.
Do you think Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold are destined to have the same level of NFL career at this point?
I don't. I think Sam needs to get the hell out of Carolina.
Like
And
you need to
needs-
get the hell out of New York?
Yes, but like he didn't like I was okay with keeping Sam. Like if we kept Sam instead of going Zach, like I was okay with that because I still believe in Sam. Sam just needs to get to a franchise that isn't a dumpster fire. Like if he can get himself to like a great place that I look at is like imagine him in Minnesota in that team and in that system. You take him there. I think he can win the backup job. And then you just sit, if you're Sam, you just sit there and pray and hope that Kirk Cousins goes down, and then you never lose the job to Kirk Cousins ever again.
So basically, he needs like a Rich Gannon position, right?
Yeah.
Somebody who maybe is a backup for a few years finds the right coach with the right system, with the right scheme to bring his talents to the forefront.
He hasn't been given a real shot, Sam, in my
No.
opinion. He
And
goes
when
to
he
the
was
Jets with the
Jets,
worst head
talent was
coach
so
ever
poor. The
in
talent
Adam
was so
Gase.
poor.
And then you go from that to like Carolina, who has no offensive line, has one offensive weapon, who goes down. I wasn't even talking about Christian McCaffrey. I was talking about Cortland
Moore?
Sutton. Yeah, DJ Moore. Sorry, Sutton's in Denver.
Denver.
DJ Moore,
Gotcha.
because Christian McCaffrey's hurt every game because they have no offensive line. Like, they've got nothing going for them.
Yeah.
You just got to put him in a good system.
Or if you want to talk about Zach Wilson, or I'm going to let CJ say it for me. I apologize if it doesn't happen right away, but listen to this. I would regret it if people look back at the first episode and you weren't on it.
Yeah, well, I like that. It's called forward thinking.
We have one of the worst beats in the world. We do. Our beat is horrible.
Connor could shove that article up his ass.
And then I went to that game and I was like, this is the greatest team I've ever seen in my life. I'm a Jet fan. This is going to be the greatest run ever. Yeah.
No, because if they take Aquanu, I'm not complaining.
Joe Douglas is the king of keeping shit close to the vest.
A 2, a 4, and a 6 for Darnold.
Did the Jets really ruin Sam Darnold, or did Sam Darnold just suck all along and we were just trying to talk ourselves into it?
Nah, we ruined him.
I give you credit for finding. I give you credit for finding a clip of CJ talking that long without using a curse word. That is impressive. And Jets Fan United stole my idea. I was thinking, Sam would make sense in Seattle with Pete Carroll, and you have some weapons over there.
And Brandon
It's
Shell's
just
up there
another
too, right?
bad team. It's just another
They are now.
place where he ends up, and it's just like, no, I want to give this guy a shot, man.
What's the good team? Washington? We're going to put him there with Rivera and Terry
No, you know
McLaurin,
what
Antonio
ultimately
Gibson?
ends up happening?
Where's he gonna be?
This would be the best. This would be the best scenario for Sam. Ready?
Okay,
Hear me out.
please.
Deshaun Watson is going to get the Trevor Bauer suspension. I'm putting that out there into the world right now. He's getting 2 years. Watch for it. I don't know why he's getting 2 years. It's crazy. But he's going to ultimately, Jacoby Brissett's going to play the entire year. And next year, they're going to need another backup quarterback. Sam's going to go over there to back up Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby's going to lose the job out to Sam. Sam's going to play a full year in Cleveland and do well. And then he's going to go get a starting job somewhere else.
Your wife needs to have this baby because you obviously sound like you're sleep deprived.
I am a little bit. I can't go to sleep.
You're
because
losing
I'm stressed that
credibility.
she's
You're
always-
losing credibility by the second. Submission 72. What's up, my friend? And Boogie Down says it as best as I could. Those last 5 games when everybody was injured and we were down to freaking DC Montgomery and everything like that. If Sam
Yes,
was
DC
on the team,
Montgomery.
if
No,
Sam
I
Darnold
agree.
was on that team, we would have been such garbage and he would have sucked up the field so bad.
Oh,
and
yeah.
everybody's excuse would have been, oh, well, everybody's hurt.
No,
Right?
I agree. I'm glad that we've moved on. I was talking about at the time. We knew about Zach's potential, but what did we literally say like 20 minutes ago? Potential gets you fired, right? We knew about Zach's potential. So my thing was I was good with either keeping Sam and using the second overall pick on a Jamar Chase or something like that, like a really, really good player that we saw taken there. For me, it was Jamar Chase. That's who I wanted. Or taking Zach. Either one would have been good with me. I'm happy that we moved on because ultimately after seeing Zach for a year, I think Zach will be a much, much better quarterback. But I'm just saying at the time I was good with either one. And I think Sam Darnold can absolutely be a slightly like an average quarterback in this league. That's my thing.
Let me ask you this, and this for everybody. Tigo, I'll start with you. Do you think that Zach Wilson is a better quarterback than Sam Darnold? Or do you think that once we got the GM and once we got the coach and once we got a good offensive scheme and once we put some interest into the offensive line, that Zach has a better chance to succeed? Like if you had to take both of these quarterbacks and say you had to put them right now, teams as is, on the Jets, on the 49ers, on the Dolphins, do you think Zach is better than Sam everywhere?
Yes.
Or do you think that Zach just got dealt a better hand because he was 2 years behind in the maturation process?
The answer is yes to both of them, right?
Okay.
Zach is a better quarterback than Sam is. He's got a much better arm. He's more accurate. He's more athletic. He's more everything than Sam. I'm not saying that Sam is just as good as Zach or anything like that when I'm like saying that I like Sam. What I was saying is this, is Zach was given a much better opportunity and he was given the ability to learn because he has like good talent and he was much later on in the rebuild process. But I think that if you gave Sam the same weapons, he wouldn't be as good of a quarterback as Zach is ultimately, but he could win you games still. Like Zach would win you. Like, let's say we put him on San Francisco, right? Zach can go out there on that San Francisco team and win you 14 or 15 games and a Super Bowl, where Sam can go out on that team and win you 10 to 12 games, but he can still probably win you a Super Bowl with that roster that's built around him. Zach is just a better quarterback, in my opinion.
I got you. Adam?
Yeah, I think the ceiling of Sam Darnold is Kirk Cousins. I think that is a very valid comparison. You know, Zach is the better athlete. I think he has more of a feel for the game. His escapability, to me, is one of a kind. And I think that's going to help keep him healthy. I think that makes a big difference. For me, it's for me, I would take Zach. I was going to make another point or two, but we've gone so many places. But I'm pretty much sold on Wilson at this point, being our starting quarterback for a while. Oh, and by the way, did we mention that Sam Darnold is making over $18 million this season? Just for a
Fully
business,
guaranteed.
just for the business decision alone, that makes enough of a difference. Because if we had kept Sam, there'd be a couple players that would not be on our roster right now just because we would have Sam. We were a better football team today because of Zach Wilson.
Joe Douglas would not have taken that fifth-year option.
That's
why they traded him. They traded him because they weren't taking the fifth-year option.
Yeah, we would have had to trade Denzel for a first by now, which I'm sure Joe will do one day. But that's another story for another day.
Gotcha. Just a comment to Boogie Down. I agree. I'm a Zach Wilson guy. I think he fits the scheme perfectly. I think his mobility, I think the capability of getting out of the pocket and extending plays is very Aaron Rodgers-esque. Now, I don't think he has the size or the smarts to be Aaron Rodgers in the pocket yet, but I think that once this system develops and once he gets comfortable in it and once he starts having that comfort level where he's getting the ball out on time, I think we have very system-friendly receivers to catch and run. So I think Zach right now, I would love to see Sam Darnold in this system with this line, with the LaFleur Shanahan system. But we're never going to see it. So it's always going to be a debate and nothing that we can put concrete evidence on.
And I disagree with this a little bit, Jits Fan United. And the whole kind of thing is we saw it with Zach this year and what an offensive line can do for you when you go to developing and getting rid of your bad habits. Because Zach has a bad habit of that back foot, his right foot, getting outside of his throwing box, like getting outside of his body. And that's why we saw a lot of these passes over the middle at like wide receivers' knees and things like that, is because like he was like dipping, that front shoulder would dip and the whole ball would come down because of the fact that his right foot was coming out of his body. And he was doing that a lot early on in the year because he didn't have time to think about his footwork and do those things because he was just on the run all the time. He had to get the ball out so quickly that he didn't have time to sit here and go, you know what? I'm going to work on this back foot, or I'm going to work on this front foot. It's the same ultimate concern that I ultimately feel about like Justin Fields and fixing that elbow of his and how he throws. I don't think he's going to fix it. And I think he's a bust, not because of his talent, but because, let's be honest, Chicago is a dumpster fire of a team. So I think if you gave Sam a team where he could be protected and he can do those things, he can absolutely ultimately end up being Kirk Cousins. And again, that being said, guys, I'm wearing the shirt. Zach Wilson is good. I
We
believe in
know.
Zach. I love Zach. I love Zach a lot. I'm just saying I'm not like totally like giving up on Sam. Like he was given a raw deal. Like it sucks to.
I got you. It's a good question. It's a
It's
good
the only
answer.
worst
Let
thing
me
that
ask
could
you
happen
this.
to him is if he goes to Houston.
Yeah, but this is really funny. So he was given a raw deal, but Sam was over across my house wearing brown shorts.
What can Brown do for you?
Why is he doing his Paul Pierce imitation?
Do you remember the funnier things is when you mute the microphone, but then we see you laughing, but we can't hear you, and you're like pantomime. It's like you're pantomiming the laughter.
Me?
No, in Jeremy, like
Ah.
he'll find something funny. He'll
Oh
mute
yeah,
the
he
microphone.
looked
So
like
you
he's
see him
falling
like,
back as- yeah. He looked like he was doing the trust fall with nobody there.
The on the Dom C with Marcus Mariota. Look, you guys cannot like Marcus. I like Marcus. I like Marcus, man. I like the guy a
have
lot,
given
and I
him-
hope he works.
Yeah, but
we have
when
given
Dominic
Marcus
said that-
Mariota way too
Dominic
much
just
time
said
tonight.
that.
Couldn't hit
Dominic-
the ocean of the top of the Titanic.
That was hysterical.
Oh no, that was a great comment. If I wasn't mid rant, I would have laughed with you, but I was mid rant.
I love when Dom C gets into it and starts talking about players like they're crap. He knows every expression. Justin Fields reminds me Rivers has the potential, but something missing. Maybe called a team to play for. Justin Fields is impossible to gauge because he's in a worse situation than Zach. And people would actually say Justin Fields was in a better situation than Zach. I don't know how, because Chicago's offense is horrendous.
I was not a fan of Justin Fields coming out. Every mock draft that had us taking Justin Fields, I would immediately go away from. I didn't even want to see the other pick because I did not want. I would have rather us
Really?
take Trey Lance, Mac Jones,
Wow.
the kid from Notre
Fields
Dame.
Fields was my number 2.
I hated Fields. I was so out on
Really?
Fields. Everything about his throwing motion and his reads, like when it came down to just playing the position of football fundamentally, the kid's an athlete out of this world, right?
Yeah.
He's got wheels on him. But like what I wanted from a quarterback and the system that I knew that we were bringing in is a guy who could sit back there, read an offense, and rip it. And I didn't trust the rip it part.
Okay.
His arm, his throwing motion scared the crap out of me. And I didn't want him. Davis Mills, I would have taken Davis Mills over Justin Fields.
Wow.
I still would right now. Like, it's just a matter of like, it has nothing to do with like, I just did not like Justin Fields coming out of college because there were too many question marks about his game that I thought were like unfixable things. Like,
What do you think? He was just a product of the system at Ohio State?
Yeah, absolutely.
And everybody was wide open and it was simple pitch and catch?
It's not I could have thrown for 5,000 yards at Ohio State.
Okay.
I am 5'10", overweight, and I've got a mediocre arm. But I could hit those guys like in that offense.
So you're Jared Lorenzen? You're the hefty
Oh,
lefty?
yeah. I would be a 7. I would have been an undrafted free agent who never got signed. I would have gone straight to the fan-controlled football league. But if I was at Ohio State, I might have got taken in the 7th round.
Would you have taken Kyle Trask over Justin Fields?
No.
Thank God. Okay.
No, I was not a Kyle Trask fan.
No, that was like he made
Kyle
Ricky
Trask
Bruce
parents
reminded
are
me-
Kyle Trask guys.
Justin Fields reminded me a lot of what like Tebow was coming out of school, where it's just like Tebow did a lot of really good things in college, but Tebow's
In that
throwing
system.
motion and his
wasn't
eyes were
transitional, right?
always going to be a problem in the NFL. He took too long to throw the ball, and in a very
His
similar
skill set
way.
wasn't transitional.
Exactly.
It fit
like
in
the
that
Danny
scheme.
Warhol or those types
Yeah.
of college quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And
if you look
Justin
at the-
Fields would be a
if you
quarterback.
look at the gimmick cornerbacks, Kaepernick came in as that, right? Like the Jets lost to the 49ers 34-0 that year. And Kaepernick came in, I think he had 2 touchdowns in that game because he had a package for him. They had gimmick. And then when you look at Tebow in the NFL, he wasn't the greatest system quarterback, but he could be good here and there. So it's very tough in the NFL the league eventually catches up with whatever you do, right?
It's like what's going to happen to Mac Jones this
whether
year.
you're Kaepernick, whether you're Tebow, any guy who Vince Young, when you can't stand in the pocket and deliver the ball on time accurately over and over again, you're not going to be in this league very long. And it's very, very difficult to be that type of player. Pocket passers stand the test of time.
Dude, if you can make the plays with your arm, like, it doesn't matter how good of an athlete you are. Ultimately, you're going to win games on whether or not you can throw the ball. That's it.
Yeah.
That's why the Ravens with Lamar Jackson are never going to do anything that matters, because ultimately, at the end of the day, when you need him to throw the ball to go win a football game, he can't do it. And because he can't do it, you're not going to get wide receivers who are going to want to go there unless you draft one high. And because your team is ultimately going to end up being a really good regular season team, you're never going to be picking high enough to get yourself a Jamar Chase or any, like, you're going to put yourself in this perpetual motion of, we're going to be picking anywhere from 18 to 26. We're never really going to, and that's just what, like, that's why you got to have, ultimately, at the end of the day, can you throw a football or can you not?
Agreed.
Man, you make it so hard about finding the quarterback, but can you throw the football? Man,
Like,
we
all,
just figured it all out.
yeah,
Wow.
it's not hard.
We're setting the world on fire here.
Guys, I've
But it's
broken
just
it down.
It's just not a matter of throwing the football, right? Like, you got to have the right line. You got to have the right scheme. You got to have the right coordinator. You got to have the right system. There's so many. Time and place is everything with quarterbacks. That's my. If Tom Brady was on another team, Tom Brady wouldn't be Tom Brady.
No way. No
It was
chance.
timing.
Tom Brady doesn't get a
It was
shot.
placement. Exactly. So when you're looking at a quarterback like Darnold, maybe he's just missing the coach and the system, right? Like Rich Gannon was 30 years old before he clicked in the NFL. Doug Flutie was like 45 before he clicked in the NFL.
Thank
There's
God. Kurt,
always say again.
No, I was just say, thank God Kurt Warner came into the situation he came into.
Yeah.
Taylor
Kurt Warner was out of the
made.
league.
Can you imagine Vinny
yeah.
Testaverde in that system?
Ooh.
With Vinny being able to throw the ball downfield, if Vinny was in the Rams system at that time with those weapons and that running back, who's to say he wasn't a better passer?
Like, and like a great example, with the, it's not Lamar hate, man. 10 star. It's not Lamar hate. It's go, like, just go watch the tape, man. I love Lamar, and he's a great, like, what he does is great, but he's not a thrower of the football, and he never will be. He's had 3 or 4 years, and he still hasn't been able to throw the ball successfully downfield.
Do you know his issue in my eyes? He wants to be a runner first. And when Lamar Jackson is not in the perfect passing position, he's very inaccurate.
That's
and his
the
first
issue.
instinct is to run and dip and spread his legs out so he can cut. And when he dips low, he's not in the perfect passing position. So he's coming sideways. He's off balance. If he were a quarterback who trusted himself in the pocket and stayed in the upright position longer, I think he would be a much better passer of the ball.
Maybe that's why they focus.
The run hurts him.
Maybe that's why they focus on tight ends like they do for the blocking, and that he only has to throw the shorter passes.
Yeah.
And why the number one receiver, was like Hollywood Brown, who was a complete speedster. Those are the types of players.
Now they got
Bateman.
Bateman, and do they still have Watkins? Watkins is a free agent.
No,
right?
Watkins is a
left.
free agent. Yeah.
Okay.
Like, the thing with Lamar isn't that he doesn't have the arm talent. He does. The problem is, and I think Nick said it really well, is that he can't throw off platform at all.
Yeah. Aaron
And so,
Rodgers can throw from different arm angles, right? And running. Lamar's not there yet. If Lamar learns how to stay upright and move the pocket without compromising his passing position, I think he will become a much better quarterback. His accuracy will be better, put it that way.
His best games when Lamar is throwing, and if you look back at all of the tape, and I watch every Baltimore game because I have a friend who he's like, all he's missing is having the disposable income to get Lamar, like an entire Lamar, like, thing tattooed on his back. like because he loves Lamar that much. And I just have to remind him because he's like, Lamar. I was like, dude, just go watch anything from him. If he's not in the perfect throwing position or in the perfect throwing motion, like the guy needs the perfect offensive line to throw the ball well. The guy's a crazy, crazy good athlete, but he can't push the ball down the field.
Can I respond to? Yes, that's a comment I wanted to respond to. But Tinstar, Lamar Jackson has the ability to break the pocket. Shit, Power just did that. Did you guys see that?
No.
Yeah.
Saw that, right?
Wow.
Undertaker was coming out of my fucking living room.
At least you came back. Every time my power went out, I'm just frozen. Oh
boy.
It happened. He's gone.
Let's just keep him up, though.
This is like part of the what's the show where they would have the ESPN, the sports reporters, and they would vote one out after each round, and they go into the freeze frame when they were out. So it's like Nick's been voted out first with the least number of points.
I have a better idea. Let's have, since we have him up like this in a frozen position, let's have a Nick's ugly joke telling contest. let's take one-liners on him. It's Jeremy, Adam, Tigo, and Shrek.
Hey, Nick Mangold wannabe.
That's all. He took mine.
Oh,
I was going to be like, and we're here with Nick Mangold Jr.
Who's drinking Miller Lights. He's right. We're not nice to him, are we?
If he was in here, you know what he'd say? He'd say, Cravat only came up with all these ideas to make jokes about me because he's a safe 3,500 miles away, which cracks everybody up because it's 2,600.
Whatever things we say about Michael Clemens, just do the opposite with Nick. You're getting somewhere.
Let's continue with the Lamar.
But to answer your thing, Tinstar, that you mentioned, how can Lamar throw the ball downfield? Like, bro, like a broken clock is right 2 times a day, right? Like, I'm not saying he physically, literally can't throw. What I'm saying is the guy doesn't have a good throwing motion. And he's just not a good enough, like he's never going to be one of the best thrower of the footballs in the league. That does not mean that he's not going to be a good quarterback. Kirk Cousins isn't good at anything, but he's still he's an perfectly average and adequate quarterback. The thing that Lamar brings that's elite is his legs and his ability to move. And that's fine. That's perfectly okay and acceptable. But to sit here and say that Lamar is this world beater or anything like that is just objectively not true. If you watch the way that he plays the game and the way that he throws the ball and the thing that he does is that it's not at a high enough level. If it was, why did Hollywood Brown request a trade in back-to-back years? Wouldn't he want to be with a quarterback if he could throw with this myriad of arm angles and has all of this arm strength and all of this stuff? Like, wide receivers don't want to leave good quarterbacks. Like, that just doesn't happen. And wide receivers choose to play with good quarterbacks. And it just hasn't happened for Baltimore. It's not like an assumption or anything that just Jet fans are making. This is a conversation that's happened with every fan base, every league about Lamar Jackson. How are you going to convince high-end wide receiver talent to come to Baltimore when your run game is the thing that you do? You maybe pass the ball like 20 times a game, where in this NFL era in this year, their teams are throwing at 30 or 40 times a game. It just isn't like that. It's not what Baltimore does, and that's fine. And we'll never really see Lamar as a good thrower because he doesn't really get to do it that much. And welcome back.
The modem rebooted. I had to wait for the modem to come back up.
You'll be nice to know we said very nice things about you when you got frozen like that.
No, you didn't.
Very
I know
kind.
all of you. I know all of you.
Unfortunately,
Adam turned the freaking American thing around to Canadian just because how much he hates me.
Unfortunately,
and Jeremy switched the flags back to the Falcons and the Giants being in the middle. I know how you guys operate.
I actually went and sat in a chair for a couple of seconds while you were gone. You know.
Don't worry, there was no Mangold Jr. references. There was no Shrek references. Nothing like that.
Son of a bitch. I like that the way you make insults by saying nobody made those insults.
We're telling you the insults that we thought about them, but because we like you and you're our friend, we didn't say them.
I think no, Tico, you thought of all of them. You just gave them. You just passed them out to us to
Yeah, I
relay.
texted it to you guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Bastards.
It helps when we all live several states away, or in Jeremy's case, on the opposite
We're
coast.
totally safe from his wrath.
I'm not that safe. He's moving down here.
I'm a gentle giant, man. I'm a gentle giant. You guys have nothing to fear.
What is that? Wait a second. You really are moving down to Florida? This is going to happen?
I'm looking.
Wow.
Well, I hope
I
you
just
go to
assumed we haven't had this conversation since the last time, so I just went headstrong into he talked about it once passively, like as a passing by comment. So now it's just the truth. That's how, like how the New York Jets beat does it. This guy said this thing once jokingly in a very sarcastic manner, but it's absolutely true.
Oh no, we could talk off air, but it's not sarcastic.
No. Well, Nick, wherever you go, I hope you have power that works.
It's not going to be better in Florida.
Wait, you hope what?
It's hurricane
I hope your
season,
power
bud.
actually works, but it's not going to be better in Florida.
It's hurricane
Oh, you know
season.
what? And if I have to take a freaking airplane to Florida, I hope when I drop a deuce over Virginia, it sprays down on your home. That's how we're operating.
Thankfully, I'm on the first floor, so you'll get my upstairs neighbors.
You know what? There's wind. There's an angle,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah. Angle
Oh, you
for
can
sure.
aim your shit at a certain angle so it gets right inside the balcony.
I'm gonna time my shit as soon as we get over Maryland.
No, you know what you do? Don't fly. Drive. It's 18 hours. You go steal the wicker chair.
Oh my God! So John Hepburn says, "Where's the pizza?" In case you
In the
don't know,
living room.
I changed the thumbnail wasn't working. So the last second out of my phone, I switched it to this really good pizza. It was actually from North Carolina. That the pizza in the picture is from Raleigh.
Jeremy, are you bringing the flags with you to put on the JetBlue plane? Or
No, you're just gonna get to see my parents' weird little back room that what do they call it? They call it they have a
the
name.
dungeon. It's where they put you for 20 years.
They have a name for it. It's some room. People have
Closet.
seen it before. I've done shows from there before in the past. So
Have you?
yeah,
Does
like a year
the
ago.
power work there as well, or are you going to freeze like Nick did?
In North Carolina, I think
Fucking
the power-
modem rebooted, dude. You never had power go out. It would still the first one.
I'd answer the question, but I'll probably jinx myself. To be honest.
And
Yeah.
Adam had fucking audio not working, and he threw headphones through the window and had to get a window replaced because how angry he got. He didn't even come back on or text any of us. He was like, fuck this shit, and just threw the freaking thing.
If you want to make the profanity part up, then yeah, you can do that. I'm not gonna
Well,
have a
it
problem
cut
with
out
that.
before everybody could hear it. We know.
Wow,
it.
you're shitting on me now, even before you do it when you take the airplane flight over Virginia.
That's why Deuce is called number 2. You do it twice.
Oh man, I've heard of Deuce's Wild, but this takes it to a whole new level.
It's almost as bad as ketchup on a hot dog.
That's about as low
Vervain-
as it gets. You know what? Oh boy, you know what? I'd almost rather take the ketchup from the plane anyway. I'll just hold a hot dog out. I'll take one for the team on that one.
Vervain comes in. Vervain, what's up, my friend?
I live in a really old neighborhood, and we're right next to like a really big lake that gets lightning like hits all of the time. And so like what ultimately ends up happening here is if we ever get a really bad thunderstorm, like the last thunderstorm, I didn't lose any power, but a house like 4 or 5 neighborhoods down got hit by lightning and caught on fire. So that's what happens in my neighborhood.
The
In my part of town.
lottery.
Yeah, all power.
Every time it rains, you're sitting here in suspense as if you're gonna win the home insurance lottery to get a new roof.
True.
It's interesting that the Ravens are the ones that scare you and not the Bengals.
Bengals scare
The
me.
Bengals scare me. I have no fear of the only thing I'm scared about with the Ravens is the run game. We're not great at stopping the run,
Yes.
and they run the ball 40 times a game.
Yes.
Exactly.
Like
And
that's
Everything
it.
they do is predicated and built off of the run.
Off of the
or
one thing we're bad
bootleg.
at.
Yes.
We have to live
Well,
with
if
it
you
because
sell out and you try to stop the run, now you got Lamar rolling out with Andrews potentially open. So it's
But
it's
my
very
thing is
interesting
like,
to see what the game plan is going to be week 1.
that being said, I'm going to look this up. Have we seen have Tampa and the Ravens played in the last 2 years?
Tampa and the Ravens, the last
Have they
2
played in the last 2 years? Because I would love to, excuse me, go back and watch possibly Jordan Whitehead on Andrews. What does that look like?
Oh, okay. I see where you're going.
I don't
And
think
don't forget
Whitehead
they
will
do
be the guy on Andrews. I think Whitehead will be the guy who's trying to stop the run.
No, Whitehead would be the guy on Andrews.
On passing plays.
My prediction is
if they sell out on the
Breece Hall.
run, especially. But my thing is, you got to remember how Todd Bowles does his defenses. Whitehead would definitely be the guy on Andrews.
Correct.
And again, which is weird. I just again, it's an interesting conversation to have because how big is Whitehead? Like 5'10", 5'11"?
5'10",
right?
Yeah, 5'10". He's
so
under
it's one
16.
of those like man. The only thing I'm scared about on the Ravens is Andrews, man. That guy is like, I don't know what you do to stop that guy.
He's not going to get like 11, 12 catches in a game. He'll catch maybe 4 or 5 balls, but he'll make the most out of the opportunities he has. And don't forget Justin Tucker. He's not missing a field goal. We need to make impact plays against them. The last time that the Ravens and Bucks played was in 2018, so it's been a long time.
Damn, that was.
Sorry about that, Chief.
How's that even possible?
I guess then they're playing this year. Yeah, they played.
They played this year.
6, 10, 14, and 18. So now they're playing in 22.
Okay, they do play this year. All right, I got you.
Yeah, they have to.
Yeah, every 4 years you're on.
It's just it's an interesting
it's
question.
The 17th game now, and then you can be more frequent.
There you go.
I get that 10-star. It's just Jamar Chase, like that wide receiving room is so good, and
there's the revenge factor. They're not going to.
Yeah, we beat them last year. That game we put Mike White and Canton. It's an interesting conversation to have. If I were to say the game that I'm scared of is the Bengals, the games that I'm not scared of are the other 3. Honestly, I have no fear of the Browns with Jacoby Brissett.
Nope.
And then I have no fear of the Steelers. And I have, other than Mark Andrews, I have no fear of the Ravens.
What about the Ravens defense, though? I mean,
not worried. That defensive back room is all brand new, essentially. They've got a new safety. They've got 2 new safeties, and one of them's a rookie. And one of them is way overhyped in Kyle Hamilton. Like, Kyle Hamilton is not as good as everybody thinks he's going to be. Like, I was not a fan of Kyle Hamilton as as a top 10 pick. I think he was in my eyes taken even a little early because I didn't think he was that far ahead, like better than everybody else. And he's a rookie, and it's his first game. And we got who's Marcus? Is it Williams? I don't remember the safety from New Orleans that went there.
Yeah, he went there too.
He's out there. It's a whole new defensive back room, and it's week.
But here's the thing that's good about that, right? When you have a rookie and the communication on the back end is probably more important than anything else, right? On the defense, the middle linebacker conveying all the calls and the safeties on the back end. Those are the 2 positions that need to have the most or the best communication. You want to play that team early, right? Marcus Williams and Hamilton, it'll be their first game with like live bullets, so to say, right?
Yep.
So you want to get them there. That's why I wanted the Patriots in game 1. I wanted to play Belichick before Belichick could see what we are and what we're about. The biggest game that I don't want to say scared of, but the most interesting measuring stick is going to be Buffalo. I want to see how we line up with Buffalo. And for that, every team in the division, really, because we haven't won a division game in years. So I want to see the window getting smaller. I want to see us overtake some of these teams. I want to see us become the team that people are afraid to play instead of what teams are we afraid to play. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
it does. One game.
This is the year where that becomes important, where we stop being a team that's afraid of other teams, and we start being a team that people are like, "Watch out, they're that's serious."
Yes, I think we're there, and I don't think we're there in preseason. I think we're there in season. I think when people start to see what we're about and how we run the offense and how our pass rush is dominating, and you see the evolution of these players who had a lot of playing time last year now transgress into role players. I think that we're a team that nobody's going to want to see come the stretch. That's just me.
I just don't think we're there yet.
No.
Week 9, that's a thing
Yeah.
where like teams are going to be like, because like right now we're considered one of those, like Bears fans are looking at the schedule and going, we can beat the Jets.
Yeah.
Right. That's because they don't know anything about the Jets.
Jaguars,
that's how,
Lions,
Jaguars, Lions, they're looking
Wasn't
at
thinking
us and they're saying, oh, we can win that game. It's not true. They can't. They're not as good as we are. But as the year will go on, we're going to start being a really, really scary team to play as long as ultimately we stay healthy, of course.
One of the games I'm paying attention to big is Denver, because they embarrassed us last season. Like, we were never in that game. That was about as bad as the New England game, the Indianapolis game, you name it. We were abysmal in that game.
It was a tough trip, and we got to go there again.
Yeah,
That's my thing, man. Yeah. Going to like, how did we get Denver in back-to-back years and not get them at home? Not once. That's my thing.
Because the year before,
what is it with the NFL
this year we play the
schedule,
division.
man?
Every 4 years, every 3 years in the AFC, you play another division.
Yeah.
And that's what alternates.
Yeah, I got
last
that.
year, we had the same position from the year before. And that's what drew it. That's why it's different.
I get that we're playing them in
back-to-back that's why it's the
years.
same. I'm sorry.
But what I'm saying is how do you give us them in back-to-back years? Because that's how the schedule plays out. But in back-to-back years, you have us go to Denver, the hardest stadium to play in the NFL. The only other hardest game to do is to go to London. And we did that last year. Like, you can't give us an at-home game again. Like, I'd rather play.
It's premeditated.
Let's go play in Vegas.
But we came this close. We came this close to matching up with the Raiders. We were this close from going to Vegas instead of Denver. But to have Green Bay and Denver back to back on the road is maybe the least enviable 2-game stretch that we have on the schedule.
I'm not even worried about Green Bay. I look at that as a win. They're coming back from London.
Okay.
From a hard game in London. It's a hard game for them to play.
They chose us too.
Let me know if Aaron Rodgers is out of the game.
You can't tell me that the Green Bay Packers did not know. All right, if we go and play this game in London, who's going to be our opponent when we get back? And they were like, the NFL was like, the Jets. They're like, all right.
That's our homecoming game. Yeah. Let's do it.
We'll take the bye week later in the season. We'll take that game. We'll play that. There had to be a negotiation. You're taking Aaron Rodgers out of the country. You damn well know the front office is talking about that.
And who is Aaron Rodgers throwing to? As good as Aaron Rodgers is.
Christian Watson.
As good as Christian. I'm worried about Christian Watson.
I know, but that's an answer. Lazard.
You go back to February.
They'll make somebody up. They'll get a popcorn vendor out of the stands, and he'll get.
How scared of you were you of Tom Brady in the last couple of years? Okay, as the Jets fans, we were scared because we had a horrible team. But what I'm saying is the league wasn't scared of Tom Brady at the end of his career with New England because they were throwing to nobodies. Edelman had 2 prosthetic legs because he was that broken down. Gronk was a shell of a human being because they used him so much. They had fans coming out of the stadiums for Tom Brady to throw to him, and they didn't look as good as they were before. So, like, my thing is like, as good as Aaron Rodgers is, and he is good, like, probably the best thrower of the football we've ever seen. Yeah, that being said, when you're throwing to a rookie that got way overhyped in Christian Watson, who would in any normal draft to be a 3rd-round pick, who you're taking in the top of the 2nd, and nobody who's worth a damn in the wide receiver room.
Really?
As much as I love Christian Watson, he's a great guy, but he's coming out of North Dakota State. North Dakota State University, man.
Where did Devontae Adams come out of?
What was that?
Where did Devontae Adams come out of? You got to you can't shit on it, and here's why.
I'm not saying, but you can't compare him to one of the best wide receivers in the game.
I got you, but
it's like the Tom Brady comparison.
Let me counter with this. I respect your take. You know I love you, and I love the angles that you come with. But let me add this to it. You got to give the Packers credit for being able to find guys that fit their system as receivers throughout the year who aren't top-notch blue chip players.
Let me counteract that with
Crosby,
can
Cobb,
you really though?
all of these guys.
Lazard,
Going all the way back
Marcus
to
Scanling, who now
Sterling
has all
Sharp.
this money. Yeah.
Going all
And
the
they
way
also
back to
drafted
Sterling Sharp. They've done a fantastic job of finding guys that fit their scheme and who
Jordy
can come
Nelson.
in and excel from day one.
But that was so long ago. I'm just saying in
But it's
recent
been a
history,
history
that
thing.
entire offense in the last 2 years, let's look recent, right? In the last 2 years, Green Bay has ran their offense through two people, Aaron Jones and Devontae Adams. And that was it. Aaron Rodgers did not trust the other wide receivers. Now, I'm not saying that that's an easy win, but what I'm saying is I believe in this Jets team and them coming back from London and playing a team who was staying at home. And I understand that we got a bunch of SEC and ACC kids and we got a bunch of kids who aren't ready to play at Lambeau. Like, I get all of that stuff. But what I'm saying is to say that I'm 100% scared of the Green Bay Packers in that specific situation, I'm not. I'm gonna knock points off. That team didn't get arguably better. If anything, they got legitimately worse this year from last year to this year. You
Agreed.
don't get better after you move on from one of the, if not the best wide receiver in football. You don't just replace that. It's hard to do.
Agreed.
Houston is still reeling from losing DeAndre Hopkins.
But they
had
lost a
Brandon
lot,
Cooks.
though.
Houston.
They
Houston
lost a lot.
stinks.
But what I'm saying is like they had Brandon Cooks on the team when they did that, and they still. Who's the Brandon Cooks for Green Bay? They don't have one, and they're coming back from London again.
No, it's going to be.
I do look at
Sammy
them and probably
Watkins,
lose
Amari
that,
Rogers. They drafted Romeo Doubs. They drafted Christian Watson, and Randall Cobb's back. So I know Cobb is old as hell, but no, they have a very young wide receiver room. And I'm sorry, somebody's going to emerge as a legit go-to number one wide receiver.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're going to be Devontae Adams, but Aaron Rodgers can do that. He's that freaking good. He's the most talented quarterback I've seen in 35 years of watching football.
And not only that,
Absolutely, I agree with
when
that.
you look at the team and you look at the system runs off of who can make it great. It's adaptive, right? It's not this guy's got to do this and that's it. They go to Devontae Adams because his footwork and his ability to get open on any type of route was unmatched in the league. So what are they going to do this year? They're going to evolve. They're going to wait for Watson or somebody else to step up and be that guy.
Jones out of the backfield.
And Matt LaFleur is a genius.
Yeah.
He's incredibly brilliant. Like I'm saying, Green Bay's
He's got 39
great,
wins in 3 years. I know he's got Rodgers and it's easy, but
Green Bay
still
is
have to have a
great.
defense.
But what I'm saying is all of the things that come into, if we were playing, let's say, Green Bay week 12, that's a different conversation. We were playing
Agreed.
Green Bay week 8, that's a different conversation. What we're talking about is week 6 after they come back from London. That's my point. Is I'm not saying that we're going to win that game. That's a hard game to win. Going to play at Lambeau is not an easy thing to do. And all of the things, Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback I've seen in my life.
yeah. Most talented
best
quarterback.
thrower of the football.
Him and Montana are 1 and 2 for me in terms of skill set, brains, delivery, understanding of the system.
Mahomes might get there, but he's not there yet.
He's not there yet.
But he
And I
can
think
get
that he
there.
does surpass that.
Mahomes has to evolve in the pocket for me to give him that credit.
Yeah.
Because a lot of Mahomes' great plays are
Broken plays.
plays that break down, pointing to hill deep, guys crossing over, and they just have the speed and athleticism to outrun everybody. I want to see Mahomes evolve in the pocket. I want to see Mahomes getting the ball out on time. I want to see Mahomes running the system the way that Andy Reid designed it to be ran and not the freestyle, freelance, let's just chuck the ball whenever we're open and play street ball bullshit, which is what he runs a lot. So I got to see Mahomes 3-step drop, bang, ball out on time. That is when I will say he's arrived. I don't want to see the chucking it 50 yards downfield or 4 guys running out and then Hill comes underneath and then takes it against Buffalo like he did in the playoff game. I want to see Mahomes become a system quarterback because he has all the other shit to succeed. But be the guy in the pocket that can read the system and get the ball out on time every time.
Yeah.
Jeremy,
Like,
how
why
you
was
doing?
Drew Brees so
He
great?
needs the offensive. He needs the
Why was Drew
offensive
Brees
line
so
for it.
great? Drew Brees was so great because Drew Brees got the ball out on time where
Every
it
time.
needed to be, time and time again.
Yeah. He put the ball exactly where it should be every
Yeah.
single time. It wasn't
100%.
anything special, but it was every time,
Yeah.
all of the time, he put it out there in the right position. And like the other thing, like it's just, yeah, it's again, we've got a brutal schedule. And I'm not going to sit here and say that we're going to win every game. I don't think we win against Denver. I just hope we don't get blown out. I never, ever want to play in Mile High, like ever. Like that's the worst stadium in the NFL. That's a hard game to go to, especially coming after we play in Green Bay at Lambeau. Like that game might as well be on the moon, how cold it is over there in Lambeau. Like it's one of those things where it's like, I'm not saying that it's an easy game, but it's not one of those games where it's not winnable.
What if the Jets, like John is saying, do cause havoc? What if our pass rushers go crazy that game? What if they are all over Aaron Rodgers, making him run this way, making him run that way, pissing him off, getting him frustrated, laying hits on him, right? And just dominating them. And then what if Sauce Gardner and Reed and Breece Hall are just all over their receivers like glue? Michael Carter II, all over whoever they want to throw to. And it's like he has no time because he's running for his life. And what if Breece Hall, because in that cold, icy weather, breaks away and has a huge couple of touchdown runs or something crazy like that? We could beat them.
Yeah.
Like
I said,
Cold, icy weather in October?
You never know.
It's Lambeau,
I've lived
man.
up there.
At Lambeau, they might have air conditioning units just pumping into the field just to make it cold.
It's Green Bay, baby. It's the frozen tundra.
It might as well be in Canada. Like,
I'm just saying
It's
that
If they
not
win
even
that
a real
game, we will all.
country anyway.
Yeah. They win that game, we'll all go streaking. I got a
I'm
good
just
feeling.
saying you never
Through the
know who
quad.
we're going to end up beating. Because you never know who we could end up beating if we're very healthy. The offensive line shows up and gives Zach time and the running back, like we can dominate in the trenches, and Breece Hall is just emerges. He's ridiculous, or Michael Carter.
Why not?
Like that. Why not? If they just have
Why not?
plays,
and that's my point.
If the
Is why not
49ers
us?
can go into Green Bay
Why not?
and dominate a playoff game by dominating the trenches, why can't we go into Green Bay with the same game plan?
The same.
Better
And my thing
offensive
is
line,
with a
better
good
defensive
team.
line. And you don't have to worry about Devontae Adams going off for 11 catches, 225 yards, and 3 touchdowns. You don't have that threat. You can go in there and you can send an extra guy now because you don't have to double a guy like Devontae.
What Emanon is saying, and this was exactly the point that I was about to make. Like, my thing is like, outside of the offensive line, like the offensive line needs to stay healthy. We don't got depth there that like I'm totally comfortable with, even though I'm making my Max Mitchell is good shirt. Like, it's still one of those things where you look at it and go, the offensive line needs to stay healthy. But we've got great wide receiver weapons, one of the best wide receiver rooms in the NFL. We've got a great running back room. Zach Wilson is going to explode onto the scene. We're going to have one of the better offensive lines in the league. Our defensive line rotation is excellent. Our cornerback room now is excellent. 50% of our safety room is excellent. 50% of our linebacker room is excellent. Like, we're only running 2 linebackers in my 50% analogy, and it's CJ's the good one, just in case I saw Y2K's.
You're like Scott
gears
Steiner.
spinning.
I had to think through that one a moment.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Adam,
There's
Adam,
a 33 and a third chance
Yeah.
of being successful.
if you
so
come
it's
out against me,
sacrifice.
Kurt Angle,
But it's
But
like,
you're only half a man.
when can we start believing in our team? Like, it wasn't last year. Last year wasn't the year. But this year we got, on paper, you don't win games in May or June or July. Like, we still have to wait to see what happens. But, like, on paper, this team right now can take it to Green Bay after they come back from London.
Another thing that we
When you
have
look
that
at
we
the
don't
team
talk
last
about,
year, I
we're
think
going to
that
have. Go
you
ahead.
can say last year, looking at the team, that you saw bright spots, right? You saw the bright spots with Zach. You saw the bright spots with Carter. You saw the bright spots with Tomlinson and Fant. You saw bright spots, but you knew that there were deficiencies everywhere else with this team. You knew that guys were playing positions they shouldn't play. You knew guys were on the field in crunch times that shouldn't be there. So when you look at the team and you look at the evolution of the team, those guys got to ride the wave and get that playing time, but now they come back down to earth, and now the guys like Gardner and Reed get to step in and take over. Adam, go ahead. I'm sorry, man. I think I stepped on you in the beginning. I
I don't
apologize.
even remember. I don't even remember anyway.
And Sean, I wasn't saying we beat Denver. Playing in Denver is one of
finally
the
nice.
hardest
That's what I
places to
get.
play, right? I was talking about Green Bay specifically, them coming after London and all that stuff. Denver's a hard game. It's always going to be a hard game. And Russell Wilson's a good quarterback, and he's going to be like familiar with playing in that thin air. Like playing in Denver has to suck. And it's all I want to be is competitive in that game.
Ask Wayne Corbett's sister.
I don't get that.
Anybody on that? Nobody
No.
gets that?
I don't
No.
get that reference.
When
I met
you-
Jim Leonard's sister once at a game, but that's another story. Go on with the Wayne Corbett
Oh,
story.
man. 1998, the Keith Byers fumble, the AFC championship.
Yep.
Wayne Corbett's sister got punched in the face outside of the stadium afterwards because she had a Jet jersey on.
What the hell, man?
Yes, I'm dead serious.
I was also 3 when that happened, so like
Quiet.
But yeah, that's honest to God truth. That was
Yeah,
the
that's
story that
crazy.
week out of Denver.
Just Fan United. Jeremy needs a pillow. Jeremy, can you confirm or deny?
I am
got
very
one right
Hello or a peppermint patty? Either one would.
Yeah, he needs more of that Chinese chicken salad, if you know what I mean.
I don't.
He wasn't here,
You weren't here at the time.
but
No,
I
but-
shall return. I do have to go downstairs. My wife's calling me.
I thought you always were downstairs. Okay.
No, I'm upstairs.
Okay. We haven't been given the VIP tour yet, and he gone.
So, question: with all of this stuff, OTAs, all that stuff going underway, and everything that's happening, and all this news and all this stuff, and specifically with the AFC, is there any stories coming out of any of the other 3 camps that are in that like caught your attention, or is like, oh, we should keep an eye on that because it might affect this team badly? Like, is there anything happening in Buffalo, New England, or Miami that you're like, oh, keep an eye on that thing because that might be really good for the Jets if that actually plays out that way, like in a bad
Mac
way for those
Jones
teams?
being a massive bag of shit.
Well,
And
we knew that.
And the high. And
But
two is
when you
supposed
look
to
at
be
him down
highlighted.
the stretch and you look what he did in key games, and you look at his lack of performance in the playoff game, I think that, and now
You're
you're
caught up.
adding losing Josh McDaniels to it. I think you're looking at a quarterback who is kind of in the danger zone, right? Like, he doesn't have the continuity from year 1 to year 2 that you normally want in a starting quarterback. He doesn't know who his offensive coordinator is going to be, whether it's the greatest defensive coordinator of all time, whether it's going to be Pencil Neck, or it's going to be Joe Judge, the special teams coach. Like, you want continuity as a young quarterback. Like,
Oh,
we
please,
know it because when we're
please,
looking at our end and we're looking
Please
at the
make Joe
Jets,
Judge call offensive plays. Oh,
crazy.
please.
Not
right?
him, Matt Patricia.
I'll
Matt
donate
Patricia's
money
fine
for part
too.
of his salary.
Make
But
Patricia
when you-
like the
when
run
you
game
look at it-
coordinator and Judge the passing game coordinator. How about that?
Yes.
Let him split duties,
Like,
please.
literally, Belichick, show me that the train has gone off the tracks. Show me that you're batshit crazy. Put Joe
Tell
Judge
me,
as your offensive
tell me
coordinator.
that you're crazy without telling me you're crazy. Joe
I
Judge, the special
want-
teams coordinator, is going to be calling offensive plays for the first time ever.
How does Jeremy Bates? What's Jeremy Bates doing nowadays? Anybody know?
Isn't he the safety for the Bengals?
Yeah.
Oh boy. Well, we know who that. I wish he. Hopefully, he will hold out and get traded, but that's another story.
I made a video on that. I don't think it's going to ultimately end up happening. But another safety, and I made a video on this yesterday, which I think is very interesting, and the Jets should definitely keep an eye on it, is the Jordan Poyer is doing the same thing in Buffalo. He's not going to any voluntary OTAs or anything like that because he wants a contract extension, and I don't think Buffalo's going to give it to him.
He'll go to Miami.
He's still my heart.
He'll go to Miami.
I don't
His
think he
wife,
will.
They already have
Jordan,
Javon
is
Holland.
a bombshell, and she lives in Miami year round.
Doesn't matter. Is Miami going to be? What is Miami going to give up? They gave up their whole draft this year to go get Tyreek Hill. Are they just going to give up their whole draft this year to go get Jordan
Buffalo's
Poyer
not
and then pay him.
His
He's
contract's up this
31,
year?
so he's looking for a massive contract deal because this
Because
is his
Buffalo
last
ain't
one.
traded him to Miami.
Is he worthy of a massive contract? Let's have that talk.
Yes, he's a top
Yes.
15 safety in football last year.
I love.
Is he
Jordan.
that because of the front?
No, he's that because of that whole defense. That whole
don't think
defense is
so.
out of this world good.
Him and
But in
Micah
the last
Hyde
5 years, he's been
so
graded
good.
as one of the best safeties.
But
in
you
football.
saw in the Kansas City playoff game, if that front can't get to the quarterback, that back end is slow and exposed.
The
Well, yeah, because they're
cornerbacks
both
were
31.
decimated. The cornerbacks were decimated. White was out. Wallace couldn't keep up. I'm sorry.
But they couldn't run with the elite athletes in the AFC. You saw them get dogged.
Yeah, but yes, but how much of that is just like the safety position isn't a premium position anymore, and there's not much a safety
That's
can
what
do
I'm
to stop
saying.
a
You're
wide
saying he's going
receiver.
to get paid big time, and I'm like, why?
For a
why would you
safety,
pay a
he's
safety
going to
big
get
time?
like a $16, $17 million contract.
Stupid.
He's going to get one. Somebody's going to give it to him. Somebody's going to look at him
I'm
and
not
be
saying
like,
your
we're a
take is
safety
stupid.
away.
I'm saying like Jamal, anybody who pays him is stupid.
pays
That's
the
a crazy
safety.
thing to do.
Yeah, I'm
But you
not,
feel that way about
I'm not
any
calling you
safety, Vince?
stupid, Tigo. I
No,
apologize.
yeah.
Came off
But
that
what
way.
I'm saying is this is a good thing for the Jets, and why it's something I want to keep an eye on is because ultimately they have two options. It's either run one of their backup safeties, and when we saw the Buffalo Bills backup safeties, they weren't good last year, or it's go get a safety out in the market. And where are you going to find a good safety that's going to be able to play Jordan Poyer, like at the level of Jordan Poyer? You're not.
Who's the other safety? Hyde?
Yeah, Michael Hyde.
Yeah, now Hyde, but again, Hyde is 31.
Yeah.
They're both.
And how Poyer's 31 too?
Poyer just turned 31
Kudos
last
to him
month.
for having Jordan Bush at home. Jesus.
And-
or Rachel
and-
Bush. I'm sorry, Rachel Bush. Good Lord.
And
If you guys don't
Hyde
follow
is
her
31.
Instagram page, Rachel Bush is a fun follow.
It's just, it's one of those things where we don't know if he's going to get traded or not, but it's
Okay.
just how much of the, like, does that affect the locker room of him not being there and wanting a contract extension? And Hyde is still there and he's the same age and he's doing all that stuff. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of that, like how much of that seeps into the locker room, how much of that we saw
Correct.
what happened with Jamal and Marcus May and all those things here where they started.
And our team at that time was nowhere near as talented as Buffalo is.
Nope.
So they're going to have Allen, Diggs, the D line, Edmonds, cornerbacks. They're
just be
going to
like,
have
what
a
are you
lot
doing, man?
of other players that they're going to have to pay. So
And it's not just
you might
pay,
just
but
say,
it's-
you know what, we'll take a 22-year-old kid out of college and put
Like
him in
Kyrie
safety
Lom back
on the
there.
back end and just go with the guys in the trenches.
Yeah.
Because Buffalo started that 2 years before we did. And that's why I think they're so far ahead of where we are, is because they built the trenches first.
Oh, I
It's
do
an
have some.
interesting conversation.
Yeah, I do have some interesting Bills news. This is actually pretty exciting. I'll read the first two paragraphs. Buffalo offseason acquisition Von Miller is now free to focus on his new locker room rather than a courtroom. A revenge porn lawsuit brought against Miller by an ex-lover who alleged that Miller shared a sexually explicit photo of her has been dismissed. So now he can focus on football. So there's your Bills news of the day, everybody. We're glad to be here for you. Cheers.
It's just a lot of like there's a lot of
for him.
interesting
Respect.
stories that are coming out of these other
Respect.
camps.
Good job, Vaughn.
You know,
That's about the
like
most exciting
Tua
news
having
right
to
now.
like bang the table and like defend Tua. Like,
Oh, Brian Flores got out of there just in time.
Wicker Media has spoken. Hey,
Hey,
what are you
watch
guys
out.
doing? You're driving down tomorrow,
No, I'm driving Sunday. First thing Sunday.
and then he flies out tomorrow, Saturday night into Sunday.
I'm gonna go use the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Right. Yep.
All right,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Yeah. So that's the plan. We got we're pretty much spending Sunday together. I think I get to meet Mrs. Jeremy. So that should be
Mrs.
that should be
Jeremy.
fun. Yes, Mrs. Jeremy. That's right. Or Mr. Jocelyn, as we can call Jeremy as well. So yeah, but I got the pizza itinerary down. We shall see. I got a couple of other possible places. They actually got a Fortnite brewery over there. If anybody's a Fortnite fan, but they actually have a brewery in Cary called Fortnite, and it's got like a big black wall. It's like a fortress to get inside. So it's
Fortnite.
It's
I tell my kids all the time, Fortnite is just Call of Duty for kids.
yeah, it's a pretty
I
crazy
play sports
place.
games. That's it.
Yeah. So there he is. He's back. So, but we'll see. I know his family's having like a barbecue on Monday, so we'll see if
Oh,
that
nice.
works out. And and I've still got the wine from Iowa here. I don't know if you're up on that, but this is the wine that Iowa Jets fan sent me.
He did send it.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what? Shout out to Iowa Jet fan. He messaged me today on Facebook, and he said to me that he ordered a Vera Tucker jersey, and
Really?
he went to order a men's large for Vera Tucker, but it came in a woman's large. And then he said it's way too big for his 9-year-old. And then he asked me privately, he's like, hey, do you want this? I don't know how old your kids are, but do you want this? And I thought that was really cool. Like that somebody I've never met, like reached out to me asking like, hey, do you want this? But I told him, I think my kids are 13 and 11 and they're giants like me. So I thanked him anyway for it, but I thought that was really fucking awesome of him.
There's a lot of really cool things like that. Like Dark did the same thing when I went on my little my wife just got off of obviously like she started her maternity leave, so she was like super nesting mode and had to get everything in the house done, and I was like gone. He messaged me like day 6, day 7 and was like, hey, like, is everything good? Did the baby get here? Like, what's going on? And I was like, no, we're just doing all that stuff. And he was like, alrighty, man. Well, I'm here if you need me. My girl's a neonatal nurse. Like, if you got any questions? And I was just like, that's a really, it's like, this is a cool thing to do, you know?
Yeah. You can't teach kindness, right? You can talk about it all you want, but when people go out of their way to do it on their own. Yes.
I'm kidding.
I'll take your word on
Jesus
that.
Christ, dad mode. Can you calm down over there? Man, you have no idea how much these kids are going to talk back to you. Calm the fuck down.
Well, I know. I'm working on my backhand.
But yeah, when you have people who are kind-hearted like that and people that we've never met who reach out to you and like enjoy what we do and how we involve them, that's pretty awesome, man. That's just another level for me.
It's just something that you don't expect.
Yes.
Like when I started this channel, I didn't expect that. I didn't expect like another one that did that was Jets Fan United, even though he's cussing at me right now. Was he did reach out and he was like, hey, it's been a few days. Everything.
That's just because you don't know what you're in for.
And it's one of those things where it's just like that was just a good thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
The community is great. It's one of the side things that I didn't expect when I started this channel. I started this channel because I wanted to talk Jets with people because I didn't have anyone to talk to about it here in Florida. And then you get all of these like great like people and just good men and things that like reach out and like are just nice people. And John, Nick Bodden is our fullback.
Yes.
John,
I was waiting for you to pause talking so I could respond to that. John, if you have not followed Nick Bodden on Instagram, go do it.
Please.
His girlfriend or baby mama, her name is California Girl with 2 L's at the end of girl. Holy shit.
And that's a fullback pulling that one off.
Oh my Lord. Fantasticness, perfection. Make sure the kids and the wife are out of the house with the garage and the door locked if you watch her Instagram page. Holy crap, it's amazing.
I mean, our players are getting elite women when we suck. Between him and
Braxton. Let's be fair. Nick Bodden ain't no chump either, though. He's a good-looking man.
Oh boy, is that a peppermint patty?
He's still eating. What course number is this? 38. What are we on now? Okay.
Why does that look like a puppy dog? Hold that back up. Hold that back up the same way.
What?
Look.
You
No,
say it
turn
look
it.
like a dog?
Look. Yeah, look at it. It's got ears on the side. It's got a nose. It's got eyes.
I don't know what you're
looks like a puppy
about,
dog.
dude.
Jeremy, can you please produce a grilled cheese sandwich so I can see if Jesus is in the bread?
Let me ask you guys a question. Serious question about this. Grilled
I'm
cheese
sure it
sandwich.
is.
You use butter or mayonnaise?
I don't eat grilled cheese sandwiches. And butter when I make it for my wife.
I think we've had this conversation.
I think we have.
Because I do not use mayonnaise. I'm
Always
not a mayo
mayonnaise.
guy at all.
Always mayonnaise.
I know you're a mayo guy, dude. I know. You got the
my
ketchup
wife's-
and the mayo.
If I make it, it's butter because my wife's not a mayo person. But I don't like cheese like just by itself like that. Like I need a protein and like a lot of it. So let me ask you this question:
Bacon and tomato.
If bacon is on a dish,
Thank
is
you,
that
Cameron.
considered a protein?
Thank you, Cameron. My favorite Cameron since Ferris Bueller's Days Off.
Cameron, what are you drinking right now? Don't say that. No, Tiga. What was your? Were you going to ask us
Is
about
bacon from a dish?
That's where we're being.
Is it considered a protein? Do you
Absolutely.
consider bacon a protein?
Of course.
Incorrect. That's the wrong answer.
I
Of
consider
course.
bacon
It's an accoutrement.
I
It's not
consider bacon bacon. Bacon is just bacon. You don't need
But
to
like,
say
I
anything
need
else
bacon
besides
and then
bacon.
something else.
You guys, you got to stop talking about bacon because Jeremy's going to fucking disappear for another 20 minutes again.
That's the idea. The views are going up while he's gone. I don't know.
That's because he was in the kitchen watching on 7 devices.
See, John's got it right. It's butter, man.
Yeah, it's butter.
I'm telling you, my entire life it was butter.
Yes.
And then when I met my ex-wife, her father said, you got to use mayonnaise. It's a better lard. It'll taste better. And it did. And nobody loves melted butter. I can show you my cholesterol medicine right now, 6 feet away from me. Nobody loves melted butter more than I do.
I love how that's the proof that he likes butter is the lard. Not the lard, is the cholesterol medication.
I think the cholesterol medicine could be a good argument for liking both butter and mayonnaise at the same time.
Yeah. Be the first person to invent mayo utter. Yeah, mayo
They have
utter.
everything. They have mayo chup, and they've got they got everything nowadays. I mean, we got freaking peanut butter and jelly in the same jar. How lazy are we? You know, they may as well put croutons in a jar of peanut butter and jelly because, God forbid, you got to spread
And
it
that
on the
ratio
bread.
sucks.
Oh,
That ratio of jelly to peanut butter should never be 50-50.
no.
It's about 20% jelly, 80% peanut butter.
Just give me the peanut butter. I don't even need the jelly.
Fuck you, Jeremy. I see you laughing because I'm breaking it down. Yes, I've put that much thought into this.
80-20, not 70.
See, he's done so much research on
Teddy
it.
Pendergrass
He went in
song.
there with 2 different spoons and put them on either side. To
Not
see.
70-30.
I'll tell you right now. Do you
Not
want to have the
64.
greatest peanut butter and jelly sandwich that you've ever had in your entire life?
Put mayonnaise on it.
No. Stop. Now you're just talking gibberish. You put the peanut butter and jelly into a bowl and you mix it up together and then you spread it on the bread. And I'm telling you, it hits so much better.
I'll take your word for it.
Oh, boy.
That's why you guys are fucking skinny. Screw you guys. Shaved sons of bitches.
I can't help it that I ran 2 miles and worked arms before the show tonight. I mean, it's not my fault.
First of all, do you run because you like running?
No,
feel
he
like
does
this
what
is-
I do. He runs from his issues.
This is the follow-up question to the bacon where I'm getting like the detective eye or something like that.
I'm asking you a question, Adam.
Uh-huh.
I need an answer. Do you run because you enjoy running or because it's an effective form of cardio and there's no other option?
It's more the latter.
Okay,
And
that's the right answer.
Yes.
People who run because they like running all need to be in jail.
Yeah.
All of them. They're sociopaths.
But in jail with a treadmill inside the jail cell.
No, they need to be buried
No,
in
no.
prison.
In a
Those are the people that
4x4
like
cell where
killing
you can't
people.
even take one good step to the other side of the room.
There
You
you
need
go.
to be contracted.
Okay, that's fair.
And
Those guys.
Rob V, we can see your comments.
Yes, we can.
Jeremy is the one controlling it, and he was out of the chat for about 20 minutes. So I apologize, but we see yours, but we can't add your comments to the screen.
Love you,
Yeah,
Rob.
I can, and I wasn't here. It's my fault because I needed to go get 2 chocolate chip cookies.
With one that looked like a dog, apparently.
Apparently,
Yes,
yeah.
it just completely did.
No, it didn't. You and Cameron are on smoking some different stuff.
Mm-hmm.
No, we're not.
And I love Cameron. Cameron knows it.
Oh, you don't love me? Shut up, bitch.
I never said I didn't love you. I said
Well, you did. You said I love Cameron. You made a definitive statement. I said I love Cameron, and then you could have said I love Nick too, but you chose not to. So
you're not wrong.
I know I'm not.
You know what? I'm sorry, Nick. I love you too.
He goes at a loss for words for the first time all night.
I was just like, this
You're
is
not
not
wrong.
You know where you pick your battles, and normally I pick every battle. This is the one battle where I was
Yes,
like,
you
I'm just gonna-
do.
He's like, damn it, he got me.
I'll give it to him.
Well, like you said, the broken clock is right twice a day. So there you go. Everything coming out of New England has Mac Jones looking great, though. Okay, yeah, I'm sure.
What happened, Mac Jones?
Yeah, they're talking about how great he looks and all this. Who cares?
Gonna shit the bed.
It doesn't teach you.
Look,
how to
my
throw a
thing is
football.
it's good to it's easy to look good against those defensive backs that no one knows in New England right now as they're developing the system, right? Like I want to see
louder.
Mac Jones. I want to see Mac Jones like against NFL defenses because I think we caught up to whatever Mac Jones is.
Oh, what is Mac Jones? Ryan Leaf with a better coach.
Yes,
Mac,
that's a good analogy.
Mac Jones. Mac
Without
Jones
all
dreams,
the off the field stuff.
Mac Jones dreams of being Sam Darnold. Okay.
Listen, man, that team did everything out of their
They spent so
characteristics
much
of
money.
what they've done. Their entire history of what Belichick has done changed last year out of desperation. So they
saw
brought
that in the
everybody new
offseason
in.
when they signed
The
a bunch
team
of
got
random
better.
bullshit.
The water level rised. They played well, and then down the end of the year, everyone figured it out. And they looked like a bag of shit. And then they trade their best offensive lineman, Shaq Mason, to Tampa Bay to protect Brady. And Mac Jones, it's a steaming bag of dog shit right by the mailbox, and you got to drop your letter in. And you're like, you know what? I don't want to smell this shit. I don't want to go anywhere near it.
And it wasn't even just Cole Strange. I mean, Tyquan Thornton. That was almost as laughable as Cole Strange.
Yeah.
See, I didn't even hate the Cole Strange pick, right? Because I could hear the argument.
I loved it.
I could even hear the argument that Cole Strange wouldn't have been there at the end of the second when they picked, right? Because he probably wouldn't be. And I get that. I could even understand that. Tyquan Thornton, there.
Yeah.
There.
For a quarterback who can't throw downfield unless he's throwing against Trayvon Diggs.
And has the wind behind him.
I love it. I really honestly believe on the IOW Sports podcast that I do on Mondays and Thursdays, we did a way too early.
What a cheap plug. Go ahead. Because like, never mind.
Jeremy, what the hell was in those cookies?
Yeah, what the fuck was that, man?
'Cause you
Damn it. I show nothing
Look,
but
I get it, Jeremy.
All
That
we're
was
missing tonight
a
is
cheap
my
plug.
chair.
I show nothing but respect
thought
and
it
support
was
for him.
I thought it was
He
funny.
just fucking spit chocolate chips all over his computer screen to make fun of me. What the fuck is that?
No, but I get that sentiment, right?
But I predicted the Patriots to go 6-11 this year in last place.
And somebody
How
ought to let
was it-
Stephen
how-
A.
okay.
Smith know that.
Just because I wanted a chocolate chip cookie, Kirkland, Costco comes in a big package, really good deal for $7.99.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean that I wasn't just joking around.
No,
Let
no.
me
I
ask
just
you
think-
this question.
I just think you're obsessed with anything that comes with a big package, you son of a bitch.
But
Especially when it's only
Here you go, I'm here all night,
$7.99.
I'm here all night.
so going back to the New England 6-11 or whatever,
Yeah.
you think they ultimately end up worse than Miami?
Yeah. I think Miami.
Really?
I did it with Buffalo at 13, Miami at 11, Jets at 9, New England at 6.
Miami at 11? I had Miami win 4 games.
They're going to drop, what, 5? Didn't they win 9 last year? 9 or 10?
Yeah, but you're adding
gonna drop
Hill,
that
you're
far?
adding Mostert, you're adding Armstead, you're
So
adding
much.
Collins, you're adding Edmonds.
Yeah.
They added a lot of talent, man.
Good.
I get
Good.
all of that, but I've got an argument to that, okay? And I
Okay.
think it's a strong argument.
Besides
Okay.
the coach, other than the coach,
Tua.
still there.
Like,
But what does this system do? Like we're seeing it with Zach right now. We
800
saw it
but
with
script
here's the
passes a
Garoppolo.
game.
here's the
We
thing.
saw it with Garoppolo
Every
out
year,
in San Francisco.
but if
When
you,
you
look at
can run the
statistics-
ball, and this is why they put their major investments into the offensive line, right? And
Right.
guys who can run the crossing routes with great efficiency and speed, somebody like Tyreek Hill. You're looking at a team that in this system, it's run the ball, one step, plant, cut, go. Edmonds is great out of the backfield. Mostert, if healthy, can break it from anywhere at any time on the field. You got Waddle, who now moves to a number 2 and did fantastic last year underneath. Now, listen, I am not by any way, chance or means blowing the Dolphins and what they're capable of doing. But I think that the system, the talent, the speed, the additions to the offensive line, I think they're going to surprise some people this year. I really do. And I hate to say that.
It sounds
My
like
thing
you are
that comes
blowing
back
them.
to it is that Miami
Shut up, Jeremy. Go lick a puppy dog's ears.
But Miami only has 2 offensive linemen that are worth a damn. The expectation
In the
that
stretch
Dieter,
run game,
Hunt,
though,
and
that's
Eichenberg
what's
are going to
most
take
important, right?
massive steps forward.
But in the stretch run game that we run, the most important thing is setting the edge, right? You got to have a tackle who can get out there, steal the D end, and then move up to the second level to a linebacker. And when you have Collins and Armstead, you have guys that can do that. And then when you have the speed of Waddle and Hill, I think
I don't think
have
Collins
guys who can get
starts.
open very quickly.
I don't know. I just don't believe in them like at all.
I believe in them more than the Patriots. And I think with our schedule early on, I think that we have a rough start, but I think that we're that team that you don't want to play from November 1st on.
From the bye
It's
on.
just that my thing is that right side of the offensive line of Miami is atrocious.
Collins?
Atrocious.
Well, Collins
It's not
is
Collins.
tackle.
It's
Who's the
Michael
guard?
Dieter, Robert Hunt, and Liam Eichenberg. That's their
No,
right side.
Eichenberg.
They
Right.
signed Collins and Armstead this year. One of them's got to be playing right tackle.
They got Leo Collins from
Yeah,
Dallas.
they got Leo
Is it?
Collins from
It's not listed on the roster. On
really
anywhere that I look
I
at
could
it.
have sworn to God that they got
Oh my
him.
God.
Am I wrong?
John, don't knock Chad like that. No. There will not be any Pennington slander.
I will not.
No,
I will
don't
ha-
you
find
freaking
someone to
dare,
ban you.
John.
John, we were doing good. Me and you were
Don,
in
you go
sync.
to the 2004 playoff game when he throws a touchdown to Santana Moss in the end zone and the ball's in the air for 63 yards. You don't need to throw the ball further than that in the NFL.
Next time you're getting a timeout.
I was there for that. I watched that ball.
We love you, John.
Every time I bring it up, you tell me, and I love it.
Proudest thing of my life. I was there. Baby.
Yeah, wait a minute. And now
And I was
Cameron's
there when
agreeing
Nick
with me.
Folk beat Indy. I was there for that. Yeah.
They're saying that Cameron's agreeing with me. The Dolphins got Collins and Armstead this
He's
year.
on Cincinnati.
Is
The
one
Bengals
playing
got
go-
Collins.
Really?
Yeah, Lyle Collins is on the
Who was
Bengals.
the other tackle that Miami
No one.
got?
They got Teron Armstead and Liam Eichenberg.
Didn't they
You
already
guys
have
are crazy.
Eichenberg?
They drafted Eichenberg last year.
Yeah, I can.
Lyle Collins is on the Bengals.
I thought.
What
they
are
got
y'all
Collins.
smoking?
We chocolate chip cookies apparently.
All right,
But
wise
that
ass.
being-
Sticky, Sonny Michelle,
All right,
Melvin
wise ass.
Ingram,
It's the same color as your shirt, baby. Zach Wilson and marijuana are
Chase
good.
Edmonds, Connor Williams at guard. They got him.
But I'm
That's
saying the
it.
left side, I'm on
They-
board.
they didn't get
Connor
Collins.
Williams and Teron Armstead, solid. But what I'm saying is Dieter, Hunt, and Eichenberg on that right side isn't great.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is that I look at it is Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are 2 what's.
Always
They're
blue.
deep threats.
Always blue.
That's
Always
what they
blue.
want.
Always blue.
And like Tua can't hit them that far. And outside of Tyreek
Yeah,
Hill
but
and
Waddle
Jalen
was
Waddle,
very good underneath last year, man. And I
yes, but
hate the
teams are going to
Dolphins.
catch up to that.
Yeah, but now that you add Hill's speed and being able to take the safeties and draw them further downfield, now you have Waddle and Jaceki underneath.
Why are you covering the over the top ball?
Hill,
You don't have to cover the over the top
Yes,
ball.
you do.
Hill
No.
can run 60 yards. That doesn't mean Tua's going to get the ball 60 yards down the
Jeremy,
field.
don't you wish Grandizer was here about now?
Yeah.
I'm glad he's not. Thank you,
Like,
Ruben.
Like, that I'll give you this. That running back room is pretty good.
Mhm.
Edmonds, Mostert, Michelle, Gaskin,
Yeah.
like that's a good
That's
running back room.
sick.
That's
And
a
I'll
very
give that
good.
to you. That's 4 deep. Like legitimately 4 deep. But outside of Hill and Waddle, I'm not worried about that. Gesicki in this scheme, I don't necessarily, and the reason I say that is because like they're both deep threats. If you have to send one underneath, I'm cool with that. Like I don't know. I think Miami is ultimately in 4th place this year just because one of how hard this system is to implement. If you look at statistically every team that implements the Kyle Shanahan West Coast wide zone run scheme into their system, they always take a step back. And last year they were winning games because that defense was elite, not because the offense was elite. And Tua's Tua. So
I hear you. Like,
oh,
I'm
but they have
not a
Teddy.
Dolphin
Maybe
fan
they
by
start
any way,
Teddy
shape,
later
or
on in the
mean.
year. Ooh, I didn't notice that. I didn't know that they had Teddy as their backup.
Watch, we'll face Teddy the last week of the season.
Well, now that they have Teddy, they have 2 quarterbacks that can't throw it downfield.
Yeah, but Teddy at least throws with his right arm, so
Yeah, but the people who defend those 2 quarterbacks act like they're the greatest thing since sliced bread. There's still people think Teddy Bridgewater should be like a Pro Bowl quarterback. He's got some devoted crazy fans. Bridgewater does. There goes Nick and Jeremy suggesting something.
Huh?
Exactly. Okay.
Oh. I'm just tired.
Yeah, Nick, you're muted.
I got to use the bathroom. Is that okay?
No.
I get it, Cameron.
All right,
I
I'm going to keep
understand.
the audio on so the microphone picks up the drip.
Hey, remember, if you shake it more than twice, you're playing with yourself.
Let's all listen carefully.
He muted it too late. He doesn't have the power.
I understand that Hill doesn't have to win over the top, and he does and can create things in space, but that's not his specialty. That's not where he shines. Hill in space in the middle of the field is still scary. Hill's real true threat, what you want him to do, is catching the ball in stride deep. 20, 30-yard out routes and hitting the ball to him. Like, that's what you want. The long double move. That's what you want out of him. My favorite play, like in the last 5 or 6 years, is that wasp play that Kansas City ran, where Tyreek Hill runs up the field, does the super delayed double move, gets deep, and Patrick Mahomes throws the ball for 50 yards. Like, that's what you want Hill doing, and I just don't see Tua being able to do that. And Waddle's insanely good, and he can do it. Again, that offensive line, they're just a year away from being a year away.
Man, it took forever for the draft to come. Now it's going to take forever for even the preseason to come.
God, we're 10 weeks away.
So long. Yeah.
My thing is if my wife can give birth, like in the next couple of days, and this is what we're hoping for, that time is going to fly by because I'll be sleep deprived because of my baby.
It's going to take so much longer to get to the season because you're sleeping 2 hours a night instead of like 12 to 14.
But I'll be so infatuated with my new baby that I'm going to blink and boom, the season is there. And that's how I'm going to assume it's going. Stop ruining your stuff with the logic and the babies are hard. Let me be excited for my baby.
Your eyes are going to be open more than Stephon Diggs was against the home game with us last year.
What if John Hepburn is like the grandson of Katharine Hepburn?
Well, his head would be constantly shaking, and he'd be going like this a lot.
Wow, nice.
She'd be making lots of movies. Okay. So, what the hell that was?
What the hell was that supposed to be? You sound like a Chicago gangster. That was like Catherine Hepburn.
That's how she sounded. She talked like this.
See? Where's your Moses now, see?
You jumped in the Green River on St. Patrick's Day, say.
Miss Hepburn, we apologize.
The river said Zach Wilson is good, say.
Hill was a deep threat in Kansas City. In Miami, he's a deep threat. Coles Tua is incorrectly cast as an accurate quarterback.
Adam, is that jet flag behind you on the wall made out of wicker?
Why don't you hear it touch the wood and find out? You're used to it.
That's what she said.
No, this is
Tigo almost broke his neck 3 weeks ago. Shaking his head no every time we did it. That's what she said, Joe.
It's Audrey Hepburn, not Katharine Hepburn. He's right.
There's two different. Well, there's Audrey and there's Katharine.
I know Katharine Hepburn.
Audrey is Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Oh, Katharine Hepburn. Wasn't Katharine Hepburn the one that used to star in all those movies with Michael Douglas?
Spencer Tracy. She did a bunch of stuff with Spencer. How the hell do I know this?
I don't know.
Man,
oh wait, my kid.
Michael Douglas is way too young for that one. Yeah.
So some of my hats I wear with like the hooked rim. Some of them I wear flat. And if you have the flat hat, you have to start wearing it like Sauce Gardner.
Sauce style.
If you're a Jet fan and you have a flat rim, you have to wear it like Sauce. That's got to be like the thing, right?
Mm-hmm. No,
I'm
think
not going to
there's
do
no
that.
doubt about it. I'm
Well-
surprised the Jets aren't selling hats specifically designed to be worn that way. It's the Sauce style hat.
Tigo,
You know that's
party
coming.
pooper. He goes, I'm not going to wear it that way.
Nope, not doing it. I look ridiculous like that, man.
crap.
Some
wait a
people
minute.
can pull it off. Not everybody.
You're
can pull
younger.
it off.
I'm 43. Jeremy's like 85.
Dude,
One of us wore it that way.
Ah,
It would look
crap.
weird.
the ex-sailor in me would kill. Like when people wear hats wrong, it murders.
But
me.
if you're at the Jet game, you wouldn't do it. Like
Nope.
at the Jet game,
Nope.
like everyone around you would know. Like, oh, that's the respect of Sauce Gardner. You wouldn't.
Yep.
I got to come up here to get away from Robbie's comment. Wow, Tigo, I'm surprised by you. You and your Florida ways.
Not Florida.
I don't think we're
But-
sleeping on division teams. I think we're just a hell of a lot better than
Barely
we've been in the
seen it.
last 3 years.
Yeah, I agree, Rob.
We're not the
With,
same
not
team
with
anymore.
Rob, with Adam. I don't think it's that we're sleeping on him, but before we couldn't cover 3 guys. Now we can.
It's time for teams to stop
Gesicki's not a
sleeping on
threat.
us.
Yeah, Gesicki doesn't help in the run game. That's not what he does,
No,
right? He's
But
only
he
a threat in the
embarrasses
pass
our
game.
linebackers.
Absolutely. But also, like, we've now added elite corners to the fold. So I have a lot more faith in DJ Reed being able to stay sticky with Tyreek Hill. I have a lot more faith in Sauce Gardner being able to stay sticky with Jalen Waddle. That's my thing.
Let me ask you this.
And I think that they're great players, but ultimately, the thing that carries them, Rob, is Tua. And because Tua's a limited quarterback on what he can do, those players are going to take step back. Like, we're going to, now that we have a full year of tape on Jalen Waddle, we know what to expect from him at an NFL level. So teams are going to be able to defend him a little bit better. Like, again, they're a good team. I just look at it when you look at statistically what happens. One, that offensive line is atrocious outside of the left side. And Teron Armstead doesn't have a good history of playing the full year like in the last couple of years. So there's a good to fair chance that he might get injured.
Yes,
It's
Jet
just-
Fan United just said it. That's my plan for Breece Hall.
Just bring him
I
in as
think
yeah.
he's going to cover the red zone threats. I think he's going to cover the tight ends in that type of scheme. I think that's going to be his role and his niche in this team. He's 6'1". He's got great tackling ability. He can tackle the big guy. Go ahead. I got my son's calling. Let me tell you.
But yeah, that's ultimately what I was saying is like when you add into consideration this scheme and the fact that Tua is going to be going into, I think his it's either his third or his fourth offensive scheme in 4 or 5 years. He's had a new offensive coordinator, I think, every year, sometimes more than one in multiple years, learning new offensive schemes. We know that this scheme isn't easy to pick up. So that's my thing, is it's not that I don't think this team is going to be good, is that I think this team takes a step back because of the scheme and because of the history that every team takes a step back in this team. Every team that implements this offensive style, this scheme, this system, their offense takes a step back. And since that's my whole point, is that I think Miami is going to be competitive, and I think Miami is going to be really competitive next year when they move on from Tua and they use all of their draft picks to go up to get a guy and they sign another tackle. I think it's weird to say, but I think the Jets and the Dolphins are in the same kind of boat in the sense of like, we have our quarterback, now we're building a team around our quarterback, and Miami is like building a team around a really bad quarterback so that when it's time to go get the quarterback, they already have the team in place. And that's what I think next year is. So that's my kind of assessment of Miami. It has nothing to do with that whole team or any. They have a lot of weapons and a lot of scary things, and Hill and Waddle
It's
and
sink or swim,
Gesicki.
right?
But
they're basically telling Tua, we brought everything in for you to be an above average quarterback in the NFL.
And just to
You
talk
can't
about,
do it now. Fuck you. You're gone.
exactly. And just to like say it a little even more on like why I like Miami moving forward in the sense of like when we hired Robert Saleh, I wanted us to bring over McDaniel, not LaFleur. I'm really happy that we have LaFleur now, but my hope was that we brought over McDaniel to be our offensive coordinator for the Jets. Now, ultimately, it ended up being Mike, and I'm happy with that, and I'm really, really happy that we brought Mike over, and he's a genius. But, like, it has nothing to do with, like, their coaching staff. I really like the coaching staff. I really like what that team is doing. It'd be cool if Miami wasn't in our division because then I could even, like, pretend to like Miami because I'm in Florida. But they're here, and Miami Dolphins fans are the worst, so I'm not going to do that.
And the
But, yeah.
hell are you talking?
When the Jets are not playing Florida teams, I like to see Florida teams do well, except for Jacksonville, because the misery of Jacksonville fans is the best thing on the planet. Their sadness
Got to give them credit,
is
man. It's
second
pretty
to
cool
none.
to watch football in a hot tub. Tell me I'm wrong. I'll never say it again. Baker better than Tua. Wow.
I don't. Ooh.
Wow. I think they have deficiencies in different categories. I think Tua has an issue pushing the ball downfield and trusting his arm and his eyes to get it there. And I think Baker is just not an accurate quarterback. So I think that they both suck in their own genuine way.
This
That
is a
makes sense?
great
In
question.
their own genuine way.
Like if you took the things that Tua is good at and you took the things that Baker is good at and you put them into one quarterback,
You'd have a good
I
quarterback.
think you have a good quarterback.
It's pretty good.
Wow.
If you're
Baker
looking at what they're good at and thinking that they could take you to an elite level, I don't think they're there. I think if you combine them, you'd have a decent player.
Wow, Baker. I want that to happen.
Well, imagine if the two of them ended up on the same team and they were competing for a starting spot
Oh
somewhere.
my God. It would
That
be
would be
the
fun.
receivers would have aneurysms because it would be underthrows and overthrows.
It'd be underthrows and then wildly inaccurate throws that make it downfield.
Inaccurate.
They're both inaccurate. Yes, that's accurate. I don't know if inaccurate is a word, but we'll let it go.
Inaccurate, is it?
Let it slip.
Yes, it's
It's
inaccurate.
1:30 in the morning. We let anything go here.
That's a crazy. Wow. I hope it happens. That'd be freaking hilarious.
Yeah, you're either going to pull a hammy or a quad, whether you have to stop short or overextend,
You're
depending
pulling
on who the
something,
quarterback is. Jeff
Wow, that's a
George.
great. That's
Wow.
a great.
Jeff George plus Cordell Stewart equals Baker Mayfield.
Wow.
Whew.
Wow.
Man, we're coming
That-
with the
Right?
fire.
We're breaking out math
No,
right now.
I can't say that because Jeff George had an elite arm.
He really did.
But
His
Baker
arm-
kind
he
of
had
does
nothing
too.
else.
But Jeff George
Baker
is up
doesn't
there
have
with
that arm.
Vinny.
Yeah, but how many people have that Jeff George arm?
Vinny
Like-
Testaverde.
Yeah.
Vinny has the greatest arm I've seen.
Right, Dave? This is the funnest show ever, right? Because funnest isn't a word either. But that's
Jeff George and Cordell Stewart. equals Baker
I feel like Baker's like has a lesser version of both those guys' elite qualities.
Wow.
Slash was fun to watch. We didn't have to be a Steeler fan, but it was fun watching Cordell Stewart.
Yeah, that's the comment I wanted to look at. Thank you, Jeremy.
Well,
Baker's completion
I did it for
percentage is
you.
good because the run game is so strong that they can use those rollouts and they can get Baker into good, favorable positions to pass, right?
I'm not on board anymore. I'm done.
With what?
I don't want Baker to Miami because I think it would actually work out pretty well.
Jeremy, what the fuck are you doing?
hitting my head with a pen.
Yeah, why?
I'm
That's-
tired. I'm trying to keep myself up.
You're on West Coast time. There's
Jets
no
fan
excuse.
United. I don't think Baker ends up at
Do you
the
want me to
Panthers.
switch to my channel, Jared? If you want to go, I'll go over to my show.
He's thinking about it.
Huh?
I think that's a yes.
I was saying, if you want to go to sleep, I'll go activate my channel and let you go to bed, since you're struggling to be 3 hours behind us here on the East Coast and barely staying awake.
Okay, so you should go to your channel, set it up, and then send me the link to it so I can put it in the chat so people.
Fuck you! You're not invited.
No, so people. No.
So that he can drop the link in chat.
I got you guys. My God, man, no one knows me by now.
So this way it'll be easy for people to jump
All right,
over.
I'm gonna email it to you.
Okay.
I am actually hopping off. I'm gonna go to bed. I'm gonna go put my wife to bed. It was great talking to everybody, but I am gonna hop out of here.
Yeah, I'm gonna go put my wife to bed too.
Well, because she's sleeping on the couch. She got caught watching a TV show.
All right, if nobody's in, then I'm glad you brought me back in, because I was trying to ask the question and I realized I was out of the studio. All right, if everyone's out, then all right.
Yeah, I got to be up in like 5 hours, so yeah, I'm gonna call.
Bring your fucking problems to me.
Good night, everybody.
Tigo, as always, good luck. I want
Thank you.
pictures.
When it happens, it happens. We're not like stressing about it, and at this point, we're just gonna let it go. And like, that's where we're at this point. We're just
whenever it
trying
happens,
to.
It's going to be the perfect time.
Exactly.
Your whole world's going to change. Your whole life's going to change.
Here we
It's
go.
gonna
The
be the greatest
spammers
thing.
are
I'm gonna
here.
get rid of that shit.
Let's get rid of these stupid spammers.
Wait.
Hold on. Can we get their email first? I'll send the pics.
Hold on a second. Block user. See if that'll work.
There we go.
Did it work?
Yeah, I got the messages deleted, so
Okay.
let's see. Wish I could just block, but
Gentlemen, to both of you, safe travels tomorrow. Adam, you driving. Jeremy, with you and wifey flying. Send me some pictures. Have a good time. Give me a call together, whatever you want. Whichever one of you has a iPhone, we could FaceTime. The other one I don't want to talk to.
I'm a Samsung Galaxy guy, so this is
I
good.
know.
Yeah.
You're
So no one
green.
understood.
You're green through and through. Even your texts have to be green, you son of a bitch.
Proud New York Jets fans, subscribe. There, I said it.
You did.
Subscribe to Proud New York Jets fan and see his IEW show that he does Mondays and Wednesdays.
E-I-E-I-O.
EIEIO stuff.
And I hope you get choked by your flags. E-I-E-I-O.
It's time for you to go to bed. All right, Jeremy, I'll see you in less than 36 freaking hours. Can you believe it?
That's
Look
crazy,
at
man.
the frost on them. They're
Wow.
freezing.
Oh,
Look at the
man.
front.
You got a popsicle going on there.
That's what
Good
she
night, everybody. Thanks for
Good
joining.
night, everyone.
Chat.
Good night, everybody.
said. Jeremy and
Don't not be Thibodeau. And here it comes. It's about to come in. Oh my God. They didn't. They took Sauce Gardner. Oh my God, they don't want an edge. Maybe he likes Jermaine Johnson at 10. Then we're not going to get a wide receiver?
Garrett Wilson, wide receiver. Oh my God, no edge. The Jets traded up. The Jets traded up. Are we taking JJ? Are we taking JJ? Because I know Braden is in New Zealand saying, we should get Lily, Mike. He's definitely saying that. JJ! We got Johnson! We got Johnson at 26! We got Johnson at 26! This is great! Yes! They took Roger McCreary, they didn't take Dean, and we traded up. We can get to Kobe Dean. We can get to Kobe Dean. It really is. They took Breece Hall. They took Breece Hall. Wow. I mean, look, I love Breece Hall. But there's also Jeremy Ruckert, who I think is the best tight end in the class personally. They took Jeremy Ruckert. He took Jeremy Ruckert. Yes! We got a Jeremy. We got a Jeremy. Oh, and the Jets pick, and it's Max Mitchell, offensive tackle. We needed that. That's wow. We took Michael Clemens. I never heard of him. A defensive edge